Chapter 115. This female ghost wasn't a ferocious creature. Her true form was that of a little girl. It was just a magical technique that concealed her appearance. Last time, she didn't hurt Xueqing, and this time, she had no intention of hurting him. As for Ning Fan, he didn't care about Xueqing and the female ghost. Xueqing's state of mind needed to be tempered. At least, he needed to be able to remain calm in the face of danger. He would let this female ghost temper his state of mind. Although he was indifferent to the female ghost, he was thinking about the divine intent of rain around him. There was no rain, but there was a trace of dampness in the air, which was obviously formed by the divine intent of rain. There was no rain, but there was a hint of rain in the air. What did Kei Shensi comprehend in the past? My mood isn't the same as Kei Shensi's, so I can't integrate my heart into this rainless realm. His heart gradually calmed down, but it wasn't enough. He began to feel the vicissitudes and sorrow of Kei Shensi, and replaced himself with Kei Shensi, entering his story. After suffering setbacks, being knocked down from the four heavens immortal world and falling into the mortal world, he wandered aimlessly between the heaven and earth. Coincidentally, he saw the remains of Dark Sparrow in a secluded valley. He used the earth tunneling technique to dig 100,000 zhang underground and found the grave of Dark Sparrow. However, what really made him feel sentimental wasn't the immortal bone of Dark Sparrow, but the rain. When he reached the first level, Kei Shensi's heart was lonely. Ning Fan came alone, which coincidentally matched Kei Shensi's mood. That was why he could hear Kei Shensi's sigh in the rain. In the second level, Kei Shensi evoked the sorrow in his heart, and Ning Fan also heard the enlightenment. In the third level, there was no rain, but the divine intent didn't diminish, because the mountain rain was coming and the wind filled the building. Ning Fan's spiritual sense was activated. He could clearly hear a trace of violent whistling in the wind. His six senses were open to the limit. In this moment, he finally felt a terrifying aura that came before a rainless world. It rushed towards him, the aura of a thunderstorm. No rain, it's not really no rain. This is the prospect of a rainstorm. Within this, there is the enlightenment of the rain momentum. An unsheathed sword has no momentum, while a sheathed sword is hidden, so it has momentum. A formation needs to borrow the power of heaven and earth in order to become a formation. But where does the power of heaven and earth come from? Ning Fan opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with bewilderment as he stared at the dark and silent mountain ranges in the distance. If the rain doesn't come, there will be momentum. If the mountain doesn't move, there will be momentum. If the dragon is hidden in the abyss, there will be momentum. If the green insect spins a cocoon, there will be momentum. If the human king doesn't kill, there will be momentum. If the heaven and earth don't fight, there will be momentum. At this moment, Ning Fan was not looking at the rain. Instead, he was looking at the fact that there was no rain. His eyes moved, he opened his mouth and spat out the Starlight Sword Shadow, Separation Slayer in his hand, and held it horizontally in front of his chest. He closed his eyes, brewing the momentum of his sword. The sword didn't slash, but the more it didn't slash, the stronger the momentum of the sword became. A vast aura rose from his body and a boundless sword intent made it so that no one and nothing could come within 3 feet of him. The wind dispersed on its own and the rain avoided it. Both of them were repelled by Ning Fan's unmoving sword chi. This was a sword move created by Ning Fan. He didn't slash the enemy or draw the sword, but by relying on the momentum of the sword in front of his chest, the sword intent was enough to block all attacks below the gold core realm. If Ning Fan had a deeper understanding of momentum, this sword intent would certainly be stronger. So much so that one day, he could walk across the Devil Abyss and Blood Sea with the sword in his hand. By relying on the condensed sword chi, he would be able to repel all attacks from the dark. This is my first self-created sword chi. It's not a technique to slash the enemy, but a technique to protect myself. I'll name it Rainless Sword. Rainless, rainless. The mystery lies in the 4 words, the mountain rain is coming. Ning Fan kept the separation slayer. Xue Qing and the female ghost were still staring at each other, as if they didn't notice the change in Ning Fan. After dispersing the sword intent in his heart, Ning Fan closed his eyes again and smiled. There's no rain in the 3rd level of Dark Sparrow's grave, but there's the momentum of the rain. I think that Kei Shensi must have a profound understanding of this place. After understanding the momentum of the rain, his heart began to match the rain intent of this place. Gradually, a scene emerged in his mind. The black-robed old man kept his paper umbrella and stood on a mountain peak with his hands clasped behind his back. His body and mind were in harmony with the mountain and the momentum of the rain. There's no rain here, but the momentum of the rain is getting heavier. There's no me in the 4 heavens, but if I return, there will be a sea of blood above the 4 heavens. Wrong. I want the rain to be born on the earth and fight against the heaven to achieve immortality. Ning Fan slowly opened his eyes, revealing a hint of understanding. Sure enough, the 3rd level of Dark Sparrow's grave had the momentum of no rain. Here, Kei Shensi's state of mind had a breakthrough and began to comprehend the divine intent of rain. From the 4th level onwards, there should be steps of Kei Shensi's Tao comprehension. However, the 4th level wasn't a place that he could go now. He patted his storage pouch and took out an ancient map that was given by Sinister Sparrow. The 4th level was densely covered with countless blood-red dots. Each dot was the lair of a nascent soul demon. If I go to the 4th level, I'll die for sure. If I don't go, I'll waste a great opportunity to comprehend the divine intent. Ning Fan sighed slightly. Sure enough, his fate wasn't good enough. He had discovered Kei Shensi's Tao comprehension journey, but he couldn't see the end. He stopped sighing and calmed his mind. This was the way of cultivation. Fate could only be encountered by chance. If one insisted on it, they would be doomed eternally. His eyes fell on Xue Qing and the female ghost, revealing a strange look. At this moment, Xue Qing had taken out his pill cauldron, as if he was concocting some pills for the female ghost. As for the female ghost, her stomach growled from time to time as if she was hungry. "Grandaunt, we have a deal. I'll concoct pills for you, but you won't eat me." Xue Qing begged with a bitter smile. All right. I'll do what I say. Quick, bake a few pill biscuits for me to eat." The female ghost wiped the blood stain on her lips with her little hand. It wasn't blood, but saliva. With Xue Qing's 3rd revolution pill concoction technique, it only took the time for half an incense stick to burn to concoct a 1st revolution pill. He patted the lid of the cauldron, putting 100 1st revolution pills into a pill bottle and handed it to the female ghost with an apologetic smile. These are all 1st revolution pills, origin-enhancing pills. They have the effect of increasing the vitality of a vein-opening cultivator. They are peak 1st revolution pills. Before he could finish his words, the female ghost had already snatched all the pill bottles. With a flash of light, she turned into a little girl in a black dress. The long dress covered her feet. It was an extremely ancient dress. Her waist was slender and her breasts were not bulging. She had red lips and white teeth. 2 buns were tied on both sides of her temples. The rest of her beautiful hair was draped over her back. The fringe on her forehead was neat and tidy. How was this a female ghost? She was obviously an extremely cute little girl. The little girl seemed to be only 8 or 9 years old, but her face was bright and charming. She would definitely be a peerless beauty when she grew up. When the girl turned into her true form, a vast aura could no longer be concealed. A faint fragrance spread out from her body and entered Ning Fan's nose. His expression changed. It was the fragrance of a 5th revolution pill and above. A trace of fragrance was enough to improve Ning Fan's cultivation a little. The qi of this little girl made him frown. The qi of this little girl was exactly the same as that of the ferocious beast in the 2nd level of the rain pond. This little girl was a female ghost, a demonic beast, or perhaps, a pill devil. Fortunately, this girl did not have a trace of killing intent from the beginning to the end. Moreover, her cultivation base was strange. Her magical force seemed to be at the early gold core realm, but her divine sense had reached the mid-nascent soul realm. Her pink and tender little hand crushed the pill bottle that contained the pills. Then, she opened her little mouth, revealing her cute little canine teeth. She chewed and swallowed all 100 essence-enhancing pills, one mouthful at a time, and swallowed all of them. Although the pills were only first revolution, the pill bottle was made from purple-green jade. Apart from preserving the medicinal effect, its biggest advantage was that it was extremely sturdy. It wouldn't break even if it withstood a gold core attack. However, this little girl crushed the pill bottle effortlessly. She didn't even use any magical power. How terrifying was this little girl's physical body? It doesn't taste good. This pill biscuit doesn't taste good. Make me something delicious. The little girl looked at Xueqing with dissatisfaction. Immediately, cold sweat broke out on Xueqing's head. Then, I will concoct second revolution pills for you. But I don't have that many spiritual herbs with me. Oh right, let my master concoct pills for you. The pills concocted by my master are very delicious. While Xueqing was in a dilemma, he suddenly noticed that Ning Fan was looking at him with a faint smile. Immediately, he pushed his master into the pit of fire. He knows how to make pill biscuit. The little girl's eyes widened in disbelief, following Xueqing's finger. A trace of greedy black light flashed in her eyes. Ning Fan felt a sharp pain in his sea of consciousness. He hurriedly took 2 steps back with a slightly surprised look. What kind of divine ability was that black light? How could it make my sword sense hurt? Hey, you! Make me pill biscuit now. Otherwise, I will eat you. The little girl showed her little tiger teeth and bit them, as if she wanted to scare Ning Fan. Eat me? My flesh doesn't taste good. But I can indeed concoct more delicious pills for you. But what benefits do I get? Ning Fan smiled faintly. His eyes fell on the brocade pouch on the little girl's waist. The quality of this brocade pouch was extremely high. It wasn't just a little bit higher than ordinary storage pouch. Due to the carelessness of the little girl, this brocade pouch wasn't fastened tightly. Traces of medicinal fragrance wafted out of it, causing Ning Fan's mind to waver. 1,000 years old spiritual herbs, 2,000 years old spiritual herbs, 5,000 years old spiritual herbs, and even 10,000 years old spiritual herbs. This little girl wasn't just an ordinary wealthy person. Benefits? What benefits do you want? If the pill biscuit you make is delicious, I won't hit you. What do you say? The little girl sounded as if she was negotiating. Hit me? You can't beat me. Then if I win, you have to make me pill biscuit. A black light flashed in the little girl's eyes. She immediately turned into a black ray and rushed towards Ning Fan. She waved her fist lightly, but it was accompanied by a sonic boom. Obviously, the strength of her fist was extremely strong. This girl has such strong strength. Ning Fan's eyes were slightly surprised. Both of his hands glowed with silver light. He slapped his palm on the little girl's fist and immediately used the rebounding force to retreat. At the same time, he slapped his palm on the same spot on the little girl's fist. Every slap caused Ning Fan's blood and qi to churn. It wouldn't be difficult for this girl to kill a late gold core cultivator with just the strength of her fist. After 13 slaps, Ning Fan had already neutralized 90% of the girl's fist strength. Everything happened in an instant. At this moment, Ning Fan no longer retreated. His entire body was covered with silver light and concentrated on his right fist. He activated the ancient beast wrist guard. Demonic qi floated around his body and his fist collided with the little girl's fist. Boom! After a loud bang, the ground of the 2 fists collided. With the 2 of them as the epicenter, a few hundred meters of the ground was shattered into pieces. Ning Fan finally withstood the little girl's fist. He had a clearer understanding of the little girl's strength. If he didn't use his trump card, he might not be able to defeat this girl. I really can't beat you. The little girl withdrew her fist and revealed a strange look. With Ning Fan's cultivation base, shouldn't he be able to send one flying with a single punch? But immediately, she revealed an evil smile. I can't beat you, but I have a lot of rain babies to help me. As long as I whistle, all of them will attack you. Tell me, are you going to make me pill cakes or not? The little girl whistled softly. Immediately, innumerable flickering eyes lit up in the dark in the third level of Dark Sparrow's grave. Each of them had a gold core cultivation base. With so many gold core demonic beasts, even Ning Fan felt his scalp going numb. He had never thought that the little girl in front of him was like a dominator to these terrifying demonic beasts. Alright, I'll concoct pills for you. But I don't have the ingredients. I'll use yours. Ning Fan hid his astonished look and pointed at the little girl's storage pouch. The little girl immediately exclaimed, pressed her hands on the pouch and opened her mouth. No, I can't. I don't have any spiritual herbs. I'll use yours. Then there's no other way. If you don't give me the spiritual herbs, you won't get any pill cakes. Ning Fan revealed a teasing look. This little girl seemed to be a pill devil and had the ability to control the demonic beasts in Dark Sparrow's grave. No one knew how many tens of thousands of years she had lived in Dark Sparrow's grave, but her mind seemed to be that of a little girl. Although she was strong, she was pure and untainted. It's not pill cakes. It's pill cakes. The little girl waved her fist discontentedly and corrected him. All right. Pill cakes. You give me the spiritual herbs and I'll make you cakes. In the outside world, I'm a famous Fourth Revolution biscuit master. Wow. You're a biscuit master. You're amazing. The little girl's eyes sparkled with stars. Saliva began to drip from the corner of her mouth. At the side, Shui Qing cursed inwardly at this seemingly stupid conversation. This little girl was the pill devil that he was so afraid of. Such a stupid pill devil had scared him to death. Wouldn't that mean that he was even more stupid than the pill devil? Moreover, what was a Fourth Revolution biscuit master? Shui Qing cursed inwardly, but didn't dare to interrupt. The little girl wasn't smart, but her strength couldn't be underestimated. That punch just now wasn't Ning Fan's. If it was him, he would have been smashed into pieces. Ning Fan looked at the little girl with a faint smile. Time passed bit by bit. After a long time, the little girl's eyes showed a slight struggle. She lifted her little head, looked at Ning Fan and asked pitifully. Are you really a Fourth Revolution biscuit master? It's absolutely true. The cakes you make must be delicious, right? If it's not to your taste, I can remake it. Then I'll give you all my medicine babies. You can see how to make delicious cakes. The little girl pitifully took the brocade pouch from her waist and handed it to Ning Fan. Her pitiful eyes made Ning Fan vaguely feel that it was shameless of him to deceive a child. However, when his eyes swept across the brocade pouch of the little girl, there was only shock in his eyes. So many millennium spiritual herbs. The storage space of this brocade pouch was even bigger than the entire Sinister Sparrow sect. What was piled inside was an inexhaustible supply of thousand-year-old elixirs. There were even countless millennium spiritual herbs, but they seemed to have been planted with a void realm restriction formation. Moreover, it was driven by void fragmentation magical power. It wasn't something that Ning Fan could break. His eyes sparkled. This formation couldn't be laid down by the little girl. It meant that a void fragmentation expert had laid down this formation for the little girl. The millennium spiritual herbs couldn't be taken away. There might be a void fragmentation expert spying on this place and protecting the little girl in the dark. If it's just a pill devil, why would a void fragmentation expert spy on this place? What's the identity of this girl? Ning Fan's eyes sparkled. When he was about to withdraw his spirit sense, he saw a pile of fruit cores in the most remote corner of the brocade pouch. These fruit cores looked like lychee cores, but they were densely covered with strange Dao marks. There was even a trace of dreamy power flowing out from them. For the first time, Ning Fan's eyes turned serious. He shook the brocade pouch, took out a fruit core, put it on his hand and stared at it. This is a fruit core. You can't eat it. Grandpa said that the core of the leftover fruit must be brought back. The little girl explained, as if she was afraid that Ning Fan would use the core to make a cake for him. Grandpa. Ning Fan's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that Grandpa was the mysterious void fragmentation expert? However, even a void fragmentation expert shouldn't be able to obtain such a divine fruit. The Min Luo fruit was also known as the dream fruit. Eating one would allow one to enter a dream and experience 50 years of reincarnation. This fruit couldn't improve one's cultivation base, but it could improve one's mental state. In terms of value, this fruit was even more precious than the Dao fruit of a nascent soul cultivator. Chapter 116. Xue Qing had already prepared the pill cauldron and the earth fire. Ning Fan sat cross-legged in front of the cauldron, channeling the sword qi between his fingers. He slashed horizontally and vertically, making the fire pit twice as big as before. After strengthening the earth fire, he threw the spiritual herbs into the cauldron. Naturally, these elixirs belonged to the girls. The little girl showed a vexed expression when she saw her treasured herbs being thrown into the cauldron by Ning Fan's. Humph. If the pancakes you make aren't delicious, I'll eat you. We'll know later whether it's delicious or not. Ning Fan's expression remained unchanged as he recalled the memories of ancient chaos. In ancient chaos memories, it was mentioned that a pill devil swallowed a pill to advance. To pill devils, there was only one standard for whether a pill tasted good or not, and that was whether the quality of the pill was high. The pill he was concocting was called accumulating cauldron pill. It had no other effect but to fuse the energy of the spiritual herbs into one and feed it to the demonic beasts and devil beasts to increase their strength. This pill was a third revolution pill, but to human cultivators, it could only be stored in the furnace and not eaten. The physique of humans was much weaker than that of demonic beasts. They were unable to endure the violent medicinal energy. However, the medicinal strength of this pill was wild and fierce. To the little girl, perhaps it was a delicacy. Sure enough, before the pill was formed, a medicinal aroma wafted out. The little girl's eyes immediately filled with desire, and her little hands began to claw at the pill cauldron. She wanted to take the medicinal pill out and eat it. It smells so good. This biscuit must be delicious. Bright Sparrow wants to eat it. Wait a minute, this cake isn't ready yet. If you open the lid of the cauldron, this cake will immediately turn into ashes. Ning Fan's expression didn't change as he gave a warning. So this little girl is called Bright Sparrow? Bright Sparrow, Dark Sparrow. What was the profound meaning behind them? When the little girl named Bright Sparrow heard that she would not be able to eat the biscuits after opening the cauldron lid, she immediately withdrew her hand reluctantly, not daring to flip the cauldron lid. This scene caused Xue Qing to be dumbstruck by this scene. The lid of the pill refining cauldron was extremely hot. If an ordinary cultivator touched it, it wouldn't be strange if their skin was burned to ashes. This little pill devil was scalded by the cauldron, but nothing happened. It was simply a monster. However, Xue Qing heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that Bright Sparrow didn't lift the cauldron. It was his first time witnessing Ning Fan concoct a pill with his own eyes. Even though it was a third revolution pill and not a fourth revolution pill, he had only seen a few of the pill concoction techniques in his life. He had been obsessed with concocting pills all his life. At this moment, he was subdued by Ning Fan's mysterious technique. His mind was only left with the thought of observing the concoction process. His fear of the little girl had long disappeared. The scene of Ning Fan slapping the lid of the cauldron and withdrawing the fire-accumulating pill had been replayed in Xue Qing's mind for more than 10 times, but he still could not figure out the profound principles behind it. He heaved a deep sigh. Ning Fan was worthy of being a 4th Revolution Dan Master. His concoction technique left him in the dust. This time, Ning Fan did not even need to use a pill bottle to store the pills. A cauldron of over a dozen 3rd Revolution pills. Since the process was simple, it was not difficult to concoct a dozen 3rd Revolution pills at the same time. Once the pill was formed, Bright Sparrow could not wait any longer. She used her small hands to pick up the piping hot pill and placed it into her mouth, chewing it and swallowing it. A blissful smile appeared on her small face. Her eyes were filled with gratitude as she looked at Ning Fan. Delicious. The pill biscuits were delicious. I love it. Is that so? Ning Fan's eyes fell on the accumulating cauldron pills and shook his head with a smile. This kind of pill contained a huge amount of energy. Only Bright Sparrow with her demon-like physique could devour it. Even if his body refinement realm had reached the 6th realm of silver light, consuming this pill would only bring more harm than good. What concerned him the most was that he found out that the quality of the accumulating cauldron pills he concocted was a little higher than before. Today, he did not concoct the pills seriously and was extremely hasty. However, the quality of the pills he concocted was higher than before. Why was that? He released his spirit sense and scanned the pills in Bright Sparrow's small hands. He suddenly found out that there were some damaged lines on each of the pills. These traces of lines carried an extremely faint trace of divine intent, just like the divine intent of rain in the rain. However, it was not the complete divine intent of rain. It was just damaged. Even so, the quality of the pills he concocted had improved by a lot. I have actually comprehended a trace of the divine intent of rain after experiencing the 3 layers of rain. This. Ning Fan's face was full of uncertainty. There was both joy and disappointment in his heart. He was happy that he had comprehended a trace of the incomplete divine intent in the 3 layers. If he could walk through the 9 levels of Dark Sparrow's grave and experience what Kei Shensi had experienced in the past, he would most likely comprehend the complete divine intent of rain. If that was the case, he would be able to concoct a 5th Revolution pill with the help of the divine intent of rain and become a 5th Revolution pill master. Compared to the 4th Revolution, the 5th Revolution only had the void spirit intent, but the effect of the pill was worlds apart. 4th Revolution pill was sought after by nascent soul realm old monsters. If the quality of a 5th Revolution pill was higher, even spirit severing realm old monsters would be tempted. The word spirit in spirit severing realm was the divine intent. Without the divine intent, it was impossible to concoct a 5th Revolution pill. With the divine intent, a 5th Revolution pill was enough to tempt a spirit-severing realm old monster. He remembered that the mysterious woman had told him that the Lost World Palace gave preferential treatment to alchemists. If his concoction technique could advance from the 4th Revolution to the 5th Revolution, he would be able to enter the higher levels of the Lost World Tower and enjoy the slower flow of time. Advancing to the next level would save him half of the time needed to form the core. It was precisely because he was overjoyed that he felt disappointed and helpless. It was easier said than done to comprehend the complete divine intent of rain in all 9 levels of Dark Sparrow's grave. Given his current cultivation base, he would certainly be besieged to death by nascent soul demonic beasts if he entered the 4th level. If he entered the 5th level, he wouldn't even have the strength to fight back against spirit-severing demonic beasts. If he went deeper, after the 7th level, even the void fragmentation old monsters of Rain Palace wouldn't be able to enter. How could he do that? He was being too greedy and insatiable. It was already extremely rare for a peak harmonious spirit expert to comprehend a trace of the divine intent of rain. If he wanted to comprehend the complete divine intent, not to mention the lack of opportunity, his magical power was far from enough. I've been too greedy. Ning Fan withdrew his expression. Once again, His heart was being interrogated by his desire. After suppressing his desire, his state of mind had improved. The 5th level of Dark Sparrow's grave had the profound Yin Qi. The 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave had the immortal bone of Dark Sparrow and Kei Shensi. The Min Luo fruit was hidden in the Dark Sparrow's grave. However, it seemed that his opportunity had come to an end. Forget it. I'll stay here for the time being and devour the black demon flame. The earth vein demonic flames were all 5th grade spiritual flames. He had 2 of them, the black demon flame and the white bone flame. The heavenly frost cold chi was cold chi. He had a type of bone prison chi. Among the 12 earth vein demonic flames, the black demon flame was ranked 6th while the white bone flame was ranked 11th. Among the 12 heavenly frost cold chi, the bone prison chi was ranked 12th. With the advancement of his cultivation base and the enlightenment of his cultivation law, Ning Fan had a clearer understanding of his own cultivation law. His main cultivation law was the yin-yang transformation. Under this cultivation law, his dual spirit evil veins were divided into black demon art and snow treading art. Dual cultivation of ice and fire, the integration of yin and yang, the combination of yin and yang, the white robe and black cloak, and even his character of being cold on the outside but warm on the inside, all of these were secretly in line with the great Tao of yin and yang. After obtaining the pill, the little girl put it back into the brocade pouch and left happily with the pill biscuit in her mouth. No one knew where she went. After laying down the defensive formation in the 3rd level of Dark Sparrow's grave, Ning Fan spent the entire 10 days in seclusion, devouring the 2 types of demonic flames. Perhaps this was the last time his magical power would improve before he formed his core. It only took him 10 days to devour the black demon flame. It wasn't only because he had refined one of the 9 dragons, but also because this flame had been tamed by the old monster for many years. When he passed it to Ning Fan, the old monster had erased the spiritual sense of the black demon flame to reduce the difficulty of devouring it. After refining the black demon flame, black flames could be vaguely seen flickering in Ning Fan's eyes. With a casual point of his finger, 9 black fire dragons were ready to come out. With this flame, no one in the harmonious spirit realm could withstand the 9 dragons' black flame without using magical techniques. Along with the refinement of the black demon flame, Ning Fan's cultivation base broke through again, taking the last step towards the gold core realm. An illusory black fire core was condensed in his dantian. Around his body, a vast aura spread out like a gale. His cultivation base had broken through the half-step gold core realm and reached the false core realm. An illusory core had already condensed in his body. Breaking through to the gold core realm from the false core realm had increased his success rate by another 5%. Going into seclusion after breaking through to the gold core realm would save him a few years of bitter cultivation. With his magical power doubled, it would be easier for Ning Fan to win against Bai Feidong. The blazing magical qi made Xue Qing gasp for breath. Ning Fan's qi seemed to be even stronger than the 10 strongest old monsters in Yu country. The pupil had surpassed the master. False core. I only need to sever my emotions to reach the gold core realm. Ning Fan closed his eyes slightly. There was no joy of breaking through, only worry. For the first time, he realized that his state of mind couldn't keep up with the advancement of his cultivation base. After refining the black demon flame, there was still the white bone flame in the yin-yang locket to be refined, but Ning Fan didn't refine it yet. If he devoured it again, it would be hard for him to suppress his cultivation base. He had to go into seclusion immediately to form his core, otherwise, his body would explode and he would die. Moreover, he could vaguely feel that he should devour the cold qi and demonic flame according to the rhythm of one fire and one ice. This way, he would be able to obtain great benefits from the great Tao of yin and yang. He didn't know what the benefits would be, but this was his intuition. This was a cultivator's intuition after his cultivation base had reached a certain level. It was also his understanding of cultivation methods. With my current strength, going to the 4th level is equivalent to courting death, Ning Fan looked at a huge pit in the third level of the grave and let out a sigh. He couldn't go beyond the fourth level, so he could only let go of the profound yin qi. It was said that if one could obtain all the 12 heavenly frost cold qi or the 12 earth vein demonic flames, he would be able to fight against a void fragmentation expert. However, Ning Fan was a dual spirit cultivator. If he could obtain 6 of the cold qi and demonic flame, he would have 12 of them. Therefore, he didn't need the profound yin qi. He gazed at the huge pit and shook his head slightly. It would be great if he could enter the fourth level. He turned around and was about to leave. But at this moment, a black-clothed girl leaped from the huge pit to the third level, ignoring the forbidden force of flying. Ayaya! Cookie Master Brother, you haven't left yet? That's great. I still want to eat some pill cookies. Can you make them for me? All of a sudden, Ning Fan's eyes sparkled. He might as well let this little girl of unknown origin bring him to all the 9 levels of Dark Sparrow's grave. Although he didn't know the success rate of this move, it was worth a try. I can concoct pills for you, but you have to promise me one thing. Ning Fan's eyes flickered. The little girl's body shuddered and instinctively took a step back. Promise what? If you want my medicine baby, I can't give it to you. Cloud baby, I can't give it to you. Rain baby, they are all my babies, I don't want your babies. I just want to go to the lower levels of Dark Sparrow's grave to have a look. That's it. That's easy. I'll bring you there and no one will dare to eat you. Quick, make me some pill cookies. When they are delicious, I'll bring you to whichever level you want to go to. Bright Sparrow patted her chest and vowed solemnly, as if she was afraid that Ning Fan would go back on his words. Wasn't it just going to Dark Sparrow's grave? It's not a big deal, it's too simple. The more she looked at Ning Fan, the more she found him pleasing to her eyes. He was simply the most good-looking human she had ever seen. Moreover, she especially liked this human, who was also a biscuit master. What a fascinating occupation. One day, I'll become a biscuit refiner too. Pa, the lid of the cauldron was slapped open. A wisp of pill fragrance rushed out, intoxicating Bright Sparrow. She stretched her neck and kept smelling it. Holding a pile of fragrant pill cookies in her hands, she was going to bring Ning Fan to the fourth level of Dark Sparrow's grave as promised. With her leading the way, none of the nascent soul demonic beasts along the way would dare to attack Ning Fan. Master, you go. I won't be going. 10 days have passed in the first level of Dark Sparrow's grave. I wonder how Master's wives are doing. Disciple is worried. I'm willing to protect Master's wives on behalf of Master. Xueqing's words were pleasant to hear, but in his heart, he was afraid of the fourth level of Dark Sparrow's grave. Nascent soul demonic beasts. Xueqing didn't want to confront them. With Si Wuxia and the spiritual fire of the Dan fragmentation cauldron, the girls didn't need Xueqing's protection. But since Xueqing insisted on leaving, Ning Fan naturally wouldn't stop him. You can go back now. Ning Fan could see the fear in Xueqing's eyes, but he didn't expose it. After Xueqing left, Ning Fan held the Separation Slayer in his hand as if he was facing a formidable enemy. Then, he leaped into the huge pit of the fourth level with the little girl. Hold me. Don't get lost, or else, those wolf babies will eat you. Bright Sparrow made a funny face and grabbed Ning Fan's hand with her little hand. The tremendous force wasn't something that Ning Fan could break free from. Ning Fan felt touched, but at the same time, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What if the nascent soul demonic beasts weren't deterred by the little girl when they reached the fourth level and continued to attack him? How was he going to escape if he was held by the little girl? While he was pondering, the fourth level of Dark Sparrow's grave came into view. Chapter 117. The little girl's hand contained boundless strength. If it wasn't for Ning Fan's extraordinary physical body, perhaps just the strength of her grip would be enough to severely injure him. After entering the fourth floor, the little girl stomped her foot on the ground and a four-marked immortal cloud immediately rose from the ground. Ning Fan felt that this cloud was familiar. It was the same cloud he saw in the rain pond. "Tell me, where do you want to see the rain? I'll take you there." The little girl held a pill in her mouth. Her long eyelashes curved into the shape of a crescent moon as she smiled sweetly. There was nothing better than eating delicious pill biscuits. Ning Fan was a good person. She wanted to show him around the world. The four-stripe immortal cloud was instantly comparable to a nascent soul cultivator. The little girl shot a beam of black light at the cloud. The cloud was enveloped by a sinister wind, and its speed doubled again. It was comparable to the speed of a mid-nascent soul cultivator. Above the immortal cloud, Ning Fan closed his eyes, letting the raindrops wet his face. In the surroundings, there were shadows of nascent soul realm demonic beasts leaping out from time to time. It seemed like they were attracted by the smell of Ning Fan's blood and flesh. Each of them was ready to eat Ning Fan. But every time this happened, the little girl would snort and wave her fists, causing the beasts to show signs of struggle and scatter. It was unknown what the identity of the little girl was, but the demonic beasts here all seemed to obey her commands. "Big Brother Biscuit, don't worry. With me here, no one can hurt you." The little girl stuck out her chest and smiled proudly. "Biscuit brother, except for Grandpa, I'm not afraid of anyone in this dark sparrow's grave. Don't worry, no one can bully you." The little girl was chattering non-stop, trying to please Ning Fan. As for her purpose, it was obvious. She wanted to gain some benefits after pleasing Ning Fan. Ning Fan felt helpless towards the way the little girl addressed him. If the cultivators in the outside world knew that he, the dignified, revered Ning, was called Brother Biscuit by a little girl, his reputation would be ruined. Gradually, he could no longer hear the clamor of the little girl. He could only hear the rain falling on his heart. There was no rain in the third layer, but the fourth layer was like the first and second layers, with rain falling continuously. However, if one had to point out some differences, there were still some. Along with a trace of understanding towards the divine intent of rain, Ning Fan discovered that the rain in the first level was gloomy and cold. It was the coldness of spring. As for the second layer of rain, it was even colder, but it had the feeling of a torrential summer rain. As for the rain on the fourth level, it was lonely and desolate with a hint of solemnity. This was the autumn rain. The rain in the 9 levels of Dark Sparrow's grave wasn't different from each other, but after Kei Shenxi's comprehension, the rain in each level was endowed with different degrees of divine intent of rain, from shallow to deep, from simple to complicated. What was rare in this world wasn't the void God intent, but the process of comprehending the void God intent step by step. This process was contained in the rain. After experiencing the lack of rain in the third level, Kei Shenxi would definitely be lonely and desolate in the fourth level. He must have stayed in the fourth floor for a very long time, probably tens of thousands of years. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such a feeling of loneliness. Ning Fan couldn't help but be invaded by the autumn rain. Gradually, his heart became one with the rain and he could hear the deep sighs in the rain. The cultivation of Tao, at the end, is lonely. Relatives may still be grieving, others have already sung, "What is the Tao of death, the body of the same mountain?" This loneliness, like the rain, never dispersing, like the autumn, messing up the heart. But without this process of loneliness, the Tao cannot be cultivated. The rain is not lonely, but my heart is lonely, so the rain is also lonely. This is the divine intent of rain. The girl descended the immortal cloud to avoid disturbing Ning Fan's enlightenment. As for Ning Fan, he stood in the rain and remained silent for a long time. Loneliness. This meaning seemed to be insufficient to explain the Tao of Kei Shenxi's entire life. It wasn't enough to fuse with the divine intent of rain. "Let's go to the 5th level, all right. But I don't have enough pill biscuits." The girl evaded his eyes and smiled wickedly. "After the 5th level, I will concoct pills for you again. Don't go back on your words." The girl immediately became spirited. Without the company of pill biscuits, this rain would be extremely boring. She leapt onto the immortal cloud and flew as fast as lightning. Along the way, every nascent soul demonic beast that smelled a trace of pill fragrance from her seemed to have recalled something extremely terrifying and crouched on the ground, not daring to move. The cloud entered the huge pit of the fourth city and descended to the fifth level. All of a sudden, the continuous autumn rain turned into a cold winter rain. Although it was extremely cold, the rain didn't turn into ice. This kind of divine ability was beyond common sense. Rain was rain, even the icy rain was different from ice. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. Faintly, he felt that the icy rain in the fifth level was starting to become extraordinary. This extraordinary feeling was bestowed by the divine intent of rain. He recalled the magical technique that he had learned, icy rain technique. This technique was insignificant as it was only a spirit realm magical technique, but it matched the current situation. No matter how proficient Ning Fan's icy rain technique was, the rain would eventually turn into icicles, because without the divine intent of rain, the rain would no longer be rain. He closed his eyes to comprehend the divine intent of rain. There were a few spirit-severing demonic beasts hiding in the surroundings. These demonic beasts had also comprehended the divine intent of rain after being immersed in the icy rain day and night. When Ning Fan entered the fifth level, each of the demonic beasts immediately revealed their bloodthirsty eyes, but when they were glared at by the girl, they obediently withdrew their killing intent. They didn't dare to have any ideas on Ning Fan anymore, but in their hearts, they despised Ning Fan. Demonic beasts above the gold core realm could transform into human form. These demonic beasts didn't transform into human form, but they possessed intelligence that wasn't inferior to humans. This kid is only at the harmonious spirit realm, but he wants to comprehend the void spirit intent. Ridiculous. A giant elephant beast said coldly in the demonic language. However, he is being protected by that person, it's best that we don't interfere in his matters. Another rhinoceros demonic beast said with fear. These demonic beasts were definitely peerless ferocious beasts in the Rain Immortal world, but all of them were afraid of the girl. Just like what these demonic beasts said, Ning Fan didn't have an easy time comprehending the divine intent of rain in the fifth level. For the first time, he couldn't hear Kei Shenxi's comprehension in the rain. The fifth level seemed to be a watershed. The divine intent of rain began to change qualitatively in this level. Compared to the comprehension in the fifth level, the comprehension in the first four levels was insignificant. What am I missing? Ning Fan knitted his brows. However, the little girl spoke in an urging tone. Cookie brother, are you done yet? You said that you will make pill cookies for me to eat. I'm hungry. Alright, I got it. Ning Fan opened his eyes helplessly. He was already unable to comprehend the divine intent of rain, but his mind became even more restless after being disturbed by the girl. He took out Xue Qing's pill cauldron and waved his sword to draw out the earth fire, but he helplessly found that the divine intent of rain in the fifth level was too strong to draw out the earth fire. It wasn't that there was no earth fire, but all the earth fire had been assimilated by the divine intent of rain into rainwater and seeped into the ground. Ha, this junior is quite interesting, the divine intent of rain is too strong. Without earth fire, how can he concoct pills? A white ape sneered in the demonic language. How could this be? There's no fire here, how can I bake the cookies? The girl looked anxious and worried, but at this moment, she heard the sneer of the white ape. She glared at the snickering white ape, raised her finger and ordered. You, come here and conjure out the earth fire for me, or else I will ask Grandpa to catch you and roast you. The white ape was initially gloating, but when he heard the girl's order, his monkey face turned as bitter as a melon, as if he had lost his parents. Immediately, he turned into a ray of light and rushed to the front of the girl, trying to please her. With a magical art that carried the divine intent of rain, he slapped on the pit of earth fire and dispersed the divine intent of rain. As for the earth fire that had been assimilated into rainwater, it burned again as soon as the divine intent of rain dispersed. Hee, I have the earth fire, alright, baby ape, you can go and play now. Yes, the dignified spirit-severing devil ape didn't show any dissatisfaction when the girl called him baby ape. Instead, he revealed a look of joy. In the dark sparrow's grave, as long as he became the baby of the girl, he wouldn't have to worry about being eaten by her in the future. Each of the demonic beasts looked at the white ape with envy. After all, it wasn't every day that they had the chance to please the girl. However, Ning Fan didn't put any of them in his eyes. The demonic chi of any demonic beast beside him was enough to suffocate him, but at this moment, he couldn't see any of them. In his eyes, there was only the pit of fire and the faintly lit earth fire. The white ape's palm strike just now gradually brightened his eyes. It turned out that the void spirit intent was assimilation. Merely comprehending it wasn't enough. He had to activate the divine intent to assimilate magical arts, earth fire, and all the enemies that entered the domain of the divine intent. A trace of enlightenment gradually rose in his mind. He didn't immediately help the girl concoct the pill, but performed a hand seal and cast the ice rain technique over and over again. After 10 times, the rain still turned into ice. After 100 times, there were only 1 or 2 drops of ice that hadn't solidified. After 1,000 times, half of the ice was still in the form of rain. After 1,000 times, Ning Fan closed his eyes. Finally, he could hear Kei Shenxi's sigh. That sigh was assimilated by the divine intent of rain and turned into raindrops. Previously, he couldn't distinguish the raindrops, but now, he could tell which drops of raindrops were the enlightenment with a single glance. What is rain? I can create clouds with a flip of my hand and rain with a flip of my hand. Kei Shenxi's words were just a sentence, but it was enough to enlighten him and awaken the last shred of doubt in his heart. At this moment, he opened his eyes. His gaze wasn't as easygoing as usual. It became arrogant and domineering. He cast the ice rain technique. Suddenly, thousands of icicles appeared in the sky. Half of them were ice and the other half were rain. A trace of divine intent was activated in Ning Fan's mind. In the air, the few drops of divine intent of rain left by Kei Shenxi were grasped in his palm and crushed. He shouted coldly, I turn my hand and rain comes. He turned his palm fiercely and all the icicles turned into raindrops at the same time. This ice rain technique could only turn the icicles into raindrops. It couldn't be considered as a divine intent magical art. Even so, its power had increased by at least 30%. In Ning Fan's mind, a trace of the divine intent of rain was like a rolling snowball, growing stronger and stronger. This scene made all the spirit-severing demonic beasts dumbfounded. Which demonic beast didn't spend a long time to comprehend a trace of divine intent? Besides the white ape and a few other demonic beasts, most of them hadn't understood the usage of the void god intent. However, Ning Fan was just a harmonious spirit realm cultivator, yet he managed to comprehend the divine intent before most of the spirit-severing demonic beasts. Once he did, none of the demonic beasts present would be a match for him. Biscuit brother, do you want to go to the 6th level first? The little girl asked while biting her lips. She really wanted to fill her stomach immediately, but she could see that Ning Fan seemed to have made a lot of progress in his comprehension. She was afraid that her gluttony would interrupt Ning Fan's state of mind. No need. I'll concoct pills for you. It doesn't matter whether I go to the next few levels or not. The expression in Ning Fan's eyes faded away. He smiled faintly and began to concoct pills. After comprehending the 5th level, he had a preliminary understanding of the usage of the divine intent of rain. However, this divine intent was far from what he could control with his current magical power. With his current magical power, it was impossible for him to completely turn the ice rain technique into icy rain. Those divine intents were the magical techniques left behind by Kei Shenxi. By relying on this technique, he finally comprehended the profoundness of the divine intent of rain. In his point of view, the 6th, 7th, 8th and even the 9th level was probably the process of Kei Shensi condensing the divine intent and fusing it with his own Tao comprehension. Ning Fan hadn't formed his own Tao, nor did he have enough magical power to completely fuse the divine intent that belonged to him. Even so, with the little bit of divine intent that he had comprehended, he should be able to concoct a 5th rank pill. He didn't concoct a 5th rank pill immediately. With his current concoction technique, even if he succeeded in one try, it would take him at least half a year to concoct a 5th rank pill. However, he still had a way to test if his concoction technique had improved. In his mind, he recalled the concoction technique of the 9 revolutions of River Wheel in the ancient chaotic land. His fingers were covered in black flames, drawing circles along a mysterious trajectory in the void in front of him. 1 revolution, 2 revolutions, 3 revolutions, 4 revolutions, he drew 4 circles in a row. After that, his fingers couldn't move anymore. A trace of barrier force made it hard for Ning Fan's fingers to move. 4 circles represent the 4th revolution pill concoction technique. If I can draw the 5th circle, I will be able to concoct a 5th revolution pill. His eyes revealed an indifferent expression. A faint trace of the divine intent of rain emerged in his eyes. This divine intent passed through his heart to his fingers and fused with the black flames, causing a layer of rain intent to surface on the blazing black flames. At this moment, his finger, which was originally frozen, was filled with spiritual power. Immediately, he drew out a 5th illusionary circle in the air. The 5th circle wasn't drawn perfectly. As soon as it was drawn, it immediately exploded. This indicated that his concoction technique had reached the 5th revolution and that it would be extremely difficult for him to concoct a 5th revolution pill. 9 out of 10 pills would be destroyed. He had to thank the heavens for his one and only success. However, no matter what, from the moment he drew the 5th illusory circle, Ning Fan was already a 5th revolution pill concoction master. His harvest in this trip to the Dark Sparrow's grave couldn't be considered small. With the improvement in his concoction technique, he could concoct 3rd revolution pills with greater ease. Before the pill was completed, the little girl couldn't hold back her excitement. Her mouth was watering because of the fragrance of the pill. It smells so good. It's even more fragrant than before. Why is it like this? Because I'm now a 5th revolution cookie concoction master. Ning Fan patted the lid of the cauldron. The pill was done. Ah! Cookie brother, you're so awesome. If Grandpa knows that you're so awesome, he will surely like you. The little girl took the pill and put it into her mouth, disregarding the scorching heat of the pill. As soon as Ning Fan heard the name, Grandpa, his heart shuddered. That Grandpa was naturally a void fragmentation expert. He wondered if he was being monitored by that void fragmentation expert when he comprehended the divine intent. After refining the black demon flame and improving his concoction technique, he had gained a lot from this trip. It would be best if he could obtain the profound Yin Qi along the way. The profound Yin Qi was ranked 9th among the heavenly frost cold Qi. Many experts of Rain Immortal World had come to the Dark Sparrow's grave, but none of them could find this cold Qi. The cold Qi didn't have a spirit. It wouldn't hide on its own. If Ning Fan didn't understand why no one could find the cold Qi before, he could guess the reason now. Perhaps the little girl in front of him treated it as a cold Qi treasure and hid it. Little girl, I wonder where the profound Yin Qi is. I know. No, I don't know. What do you want to do to my profound treasure? The little girl put down the pill and took 2 steps back. She looked at Ning Fan with a worried expression. Looking at the pill in her hand, her eyes flashed with a trace of awkwardness. You're good to me, better than mysterious baby. It ignored me and didn't make pill cakes for me to eat. If you can make more delicious cakes for me, 1,000 times, 10,000 times better than this cake, I'll tell you where mysterious baby is hiding. If that's the case, in the future, when I concoct a 5th revolution pill, I will exchange the profound Yin Qi with you. Ning Fan pondered for a moment. He was afraid that only a 5th revolution pill could meet the requirement of 1,000 times, 10,000 times better than a 3rd revolution pill. It wouldn't be appropriate to rob the little girl by force. There was a void fragmentation expert spying on them in the dark. At this moment, Ning Fan wasn't in a hurry to use the profoundine chi. It wouldn't be lost in Sinister Sparrow sect. In the future, he would concoct a 5th revolution pill and give it to the little girl. Compared to the profoundine chi, Ning Fan was more interested in another thing. Which level does the Ming Luo fruit grow on? What Ming Luo fruit? The little girl tilted her head in confusion. It's the leftover seeds of the fruit that Guoguo grows on the 9th level. It's in Grandpa's hand. Cookie brother, even if you want to eat it, you can't. Grandpa said that even I can only eat one fruit in 10 years, is that so? Forget it. Ning Fan shook his head. If the Ming Luo fruit was in the hands of a void fragmentation old expert, Ning Fan knew that he wouldn't be able to cheat a Ming Luo fruit from them no matter what. A Ming Luo fruit could increase one's mental state by 50 years in a single dream. It seemed like such a good thing was going to be missed, but just as he was shaking his head, a voice suddenly sounded behind him. A 5th revolution pill master, in this case, you are qualified to talk to me. You want the Ming Luo fruit? Fine, but you have to promise me a condition. The voice appeared without any sign. Although it sounded calm, there was a hidden murderous intent in it. It didn't give Ning Fan any room to refuse the condition. Ning Fan could only agree to the condition, otherwise, he would die. As soon as the words came out, the usually lawless little girl immediately revealed a fearful expression. She put her hands behind her back and hid all the pills. Chapter 118. He was no more than 5 feet tall, skinny as a stick, with a face as cold as a zombie's. He wore a black feathered robe and his body was shrouded in black mist. His hair was messy like a hedgehog's and his eyes were blood red, but his skin was eerily white. It must have been caused by living in a place without light for many years. The appearance of this person gave Ning Fan a strong sense of crisis, void fragmentation realm. He used the Min Luo fruit as the price and threatened Ning Fan's life. This old man didn't give Ning Fan any room to refuse and immediately stated his request. Ning Fan's eyes flickered with a cold light. He didn't like the feeling of being threatened, even if the other party was a void fragmentation old monster. Hundreds of thoughts ran through his mind. The old man in front of him didn't speak much, which meant that he was a loner. His eyes shone with a ferocious glint. He was probably the type of person who would capture someone the moment they met. Based on his personality, this kind of person should not be bothered to talk nonsense with him. Whatever he wanted him to do, he could just use his cultivation to suppress him. However, this person didn't capture Ning Fan and only threatened him. Was it because of the little girl or was there another reason? Ning Fan could faintly feel that the old man's eyes were filled with fear towards the earth vein demonic flame, the black demon flame. That fear was hidden very deeply, but with Ning Fan's eyesight, he could still find some clues. Strange. Why would a void fragmentation old monster be afraid of a single type of earth vein demonic fire? The black-robed old man was shrouded in a black mist that seemed to have the effect of shielding one's divine sense, preventing others from probing his cultivation. To a void fragmentation old monster, this method was superfluous. Moreover, the chi of the black mist gave Ning Fan a sense of familiarity. Immediately, he recalled where he had seen this black mist before. The core of the Min Luo fruit had the same aura. The 10,000-year spirit herb formation in the little girl's brocade pouch also had this aura. With a slash of his sword sense, he immediately broke the black mist on the old man's body. Finally, he could see his cultivation base clearly. Sword cognition. The old man was slightly startled and kept his words to himself. After recovering from his surprise, his expression turned gloomy when he saw Ning Fan's understanding expression. You saw it. Yes, I saw it. Tell me, what do you need my help with? If you can pay me enough, maybe I will agree. Ning Fan revealed an inexplicable smile, but he was no longer as fearful of the old man as before. This old man was indeed a void fragmentation old monster, but he didn't come with his true body. Moreover, this old man had an innate fear of his black demon flame. Among the traces, Ning Fan discovered the qi that the old man leaked out. When his sword sense cut open the black mist, he discovered the old man's true identity. The old man was not a human, but a tree. An old tree that had become a spirit, a Min Luo tree. The one who came to this place was just a clone of the old man's roots. It had penetrated all the way from the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave to this place. It had the aura of a void fragmentation expert, but its magical force and ability were only at the spirit-severing realm. All of this seemed to be the special suppression of Dark Sparrow's grave. Demons of higher realm couldn't penetrate the soil layer of lower realm. The Ming Luo tree was an extremely strange tree. It couldn't be exposed to a trace of fire, otherwise, it would wither immediately. The old man's Ming Luo tree had turned into a spirit. If it was his true body, he might be able to withstand the earth-vein demonic flame with his magical strength. However, he was merely a spirit-severing clone. Facing Ning Fan's 5th grade spirit fire, the black demon flame, he was afraid that it would wither before he could even touch it. In just a short period of time, Ning Fan had discovered the old man's weakness through various signs and dispelled his fear of the old man. If the old man was really a void fragmentation expert and made a request, perhaps Ning Fan wouldn't have a choice. However, since the old man had so many weaknesses, he would be a laughing stock if he was threatened by him. The old man's face was gloomy. His spirit sense had been locked on the little girl, worried that something might happen to her. Fortunately, Ning Fan didn't do anything to her and the old man was too lazy to show himself. However, after witnessing Ning Fan's concoction technique breaking through to the 5th revolution, an idea arose in his mind. He wanted to capture Ning Fan and make him the exclusive concoction master of the little girl in Dark Sparrow's grave. With the help of a 5th revolution concoction master, perhaps the void poison in the little girl's body could be cured. Given his void fragmentation cultivation base, he couldn't come to the 5th level due to the suppression of the Dark Sparrow's grave. Therefore, he could only send his tree root clone to capture Ning Fan. However, when the clone arrived, he found out that Ning Fan was holding a terrifying earth-vein demonic flame. If it was his true body, he wouldn't be afraid of the 5th grade demonic flame. Unfortunately, it was just a mere tree root clone. Due to the special physique of the Ming Luo tree, the clone would wither and perish as soon as the fire shone on it. Therefore, the old man dismissed the idea of capturing Ning Fan directly. Instead, he used the Ming Luo fruit as a lure and secretly released his aura to threaten Ning Fan's life. First, he wanted to force Ning Fan to agree to his request. After bringing Ning Fan to the 9th level of the Dark Sparrow's grave, everything would be under his control. At that time, it would be hard to say whether he would give Ning Fan the reward he deserved. As for Ning Fan, it would be impossible for him to leave the Dark Sparrow's grave. The old man's threat was actually filled with endless danger. If it was an ordinary person, he or she might have fallen into the old man's trap due to the fear of the void fragmentation aura. However, the void fragmentation experts that Ning Fan had seen included Bone Sovereign, Moksha Sovereign, Little Sable and Yun Bushu. It wasn't that he hadn't seen void fragmentation experts before. He even had the inheritance of an immortal emperor. How could he be intimidated by the name of a void fragmentation expert? Ning Fan didn't panic. He could see the flaws in the old man's words and qi. At this moment, Ning Fan smiled without saying a word. He was looking at the old man. He wanted to hear what request the old man had for him. If the request wasn't difficult, he would be very willing to get a few Ming Luo fruits. However, if the old man wanted him to enter the 9th level of the Dark Sparrow's grave, it was impossible. It was impossible for the old man to threaten him with his life. "Grandpa, don't be angry. Brother Biscuit is a good person," the little girl said timidly. Only when he looked at the little girl did the old man reveal a trace of kindness in his eyes. "Bright Sparrow, you are still young. When you grow up, you will know that the human heart is sinister. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have come into contact with the human race no matter what." The old man's eyes met Ning Fan's smiling eyes. Not only was Ning Fan not angry after being threatened by him, he even smiled. Humans were really shrewd, despicable and shameless. They didn't even show their emotions on their faces. The old man didn't understand why Ning Fan would smile. Smiling was a kind of expression, a calm and composed principle of life. It had nothing to do with one's mood, sadness or happiness. This old man is Ming Luo. As you can see, this old man is just a root clone and can't do anything to you. I do have something to ask of you. As for the details, please come to the 9th level of the Dark Sparrow's grave and discuss it with this old man. I won't enter the 9th level, not even the 6th level. Ning Fan's smile vanished. He took 3 steps back and stamped his foot. A black demon flame was stamped into the ground by Ning Fan. Immediately, a root on the ground was burned to ashes with a sizzling sound. The old man named Ming Luo groaned as if he was slightly injured. Sneak attack. The old man actually used his roots to sneak attack Ning Fan while they were talking. You lured me into the 9th level and ambushed me with your roots. Who is the despicable and shameless one? I don't want the Ming Luo fruit anymore. Let's forget about the matter of helping you. Seeing that you are Elder Bright Sparrow, I won't kill your doppelganger. If you continue to obstruct me, I have a way to injure your original body by killing your doppelganger. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He kept the cauldron and extinguished the earth fire. If it wasn't because this place was under the control of the old man and there were countless spirit-severing demonic beasts lurking around, he wouldn't be so polite to the old man and wouldn't spare his clone. Humph. Trying to leave. It's true that I can't do anything to you, but all the demonic beasts in this grave obey my orders. I may not be able to kill you, but if I don't let you leave, do you think you can? The old man's eyes turned cold. His spirit sense seemed to have transmitted some kind of order to the surroundings. Immediately, spirit-severing demonic beasts walked towards Ning Fan with ferocious eyes. This was a threat. And this threat was obviously more difficult to deal with than the old man's clone. The atmosphere was in a deadlock. The little girl stamped her feet impatiently. She didn't know why, but she didn't want to see this biscuit brother who she had just met to have a conflict with Elder. Enough. Elder, if you hurt biscuit brother, I won't take the medicine anymore. A trace of black light flickered in the little girl's eyes. Immediately, a wave of pressure that was like that of the Lord of the Demon race made all the spirit-severing demonic beasts crouch on the ground and shiver. The demonic beasts were afraid of the void fragmentation old demon, Ming Luo, but they were more afraid of the little girl. However, after the black light flashed, the little girl's face immediately showed a painful expression, as if it was extremely difficult for her to make the black light flicker violently. Mysterious black lines began to appear on the little girl's face as her expression became more and more painful. Then, a pair of black wings grew out from her back, piercing through her clothes. It was a heart-wrenching pain. Almost at the moment when the wings grew out, the little girl let out a painful cry and fainted. The old man, on the other hand, revealed a look of horror after witnessing the change of the little girl. Not good. She used that demonic force recklessly, causing the void poison to act up again. I must give her medicine immediately. Void poison was an extremely powerful poison in ancient times. It was produced from the black feathers of the immemorial dark sparrow's tail, which had fused with the void force and extreme poison of the immemorial dark sparrow. The void poison of an adult immemorial dark sparrow could easily poison a true immortal to death. A long time ago, the old man had discovered that there was void poison in Bright Sparrow's body. He tried his best to suppress the poison, but in the end, he was shocked to find that the poison was far more powerful than he had expected. It was impossible for him to remove it with his void fragmentation cultivation base. The old man used several kinds of 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs to concoct some kind of medicinal liquid to barely suppress the void poison. As long as Bright Sparrow didn't use her demonic force recklessly, the poison wouldn't be triggered. As long as she didn't use her demonic force recklessly, the poison wouldn't be triggered. The old man didn't know alchemy, so the medicinal liquid he concocted couldn't cure the void poison. Gradually, the poison seemed to have developed a resistance to the medicinal liquid and was getting harder to suppress. Once the void poison broke out completely, Bright Sparrow might die. Therefore, after knowing that Ning Fan had broken through to the 5th grade pill concoction realm, he had an idea. However, he had never expected that little Bright Sparrow would use the forbidden demonic force in order to protect Ning Fan, causing the void poison to break out prematurely. The old man's heart was burning with anxiety. At this moment, he no longer had the mood to scheme against Ning Fan. This time, he didn't know whether Bright Sparrow could survive this ordeal. His eyes were burning with anger, as if he wanted to eat Ning Fan alive. If Bright Sparrow dies, this old man will burn my demonic soul and be consigned to eternal damnation. I'll rush out of Dark Sparrow's grave and shred you into 1,000 pieces, stinking brat, get lost. Get out of Dark Sparrow's grave. The old man picked up the unconscious little girl and immediately flew back to the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. However, Ning Fan didn't leave. He frowned and stopped the old man. He didn't have a good impression of this old man, but when it came to the little girl, he couldn't help but care about her. Wait. What else do you want? The old man turned his head angrily. When he saw the same trace of worry in Ning Fan's eyes, his anger subsided slightly. She isn't poisoned by the void poison. If I'm not mistaken, the force she used should be the dark demon force of the immemorial Imperial Dark Sparrow. I don't know what exactly your medicine is, but it's most likely to suppress the void poison. Suppressing it isn't helping her, but harming her. Ning Fan's eyes were solemn. The dark demon force. The Imperial Dark Sparrow. Impossible. She's just a little pill devil. I've seen her grow up with my own eyes. The old man's heart shuddered. As a member of the demon race, it was impossible for him to not know the name of the immemorial Dark Sparrow and the terror of the Imperial Dark Sparrow. He had seen a pill devil take shape, grow up and turn into a little girl with his own eyes. How could a pill devil be the immemorial Dark Sparrow and the overlord of the demon race? This was utter nonsense. However, after listening to Ning Fan's words, the old man also felt that the mysterious force in the little girl's body was indeed the legendary Imperial Dark Sparrow, the Dark Demon Force. The immemorial Dark Sparrow was the overlord of the demon race, while the Imperial Dark Sparrow was a one-in-a-million existence. Only the Imperial Dark Sparrow could produce the Dark Demon Force. With this force, the Imperial Dark Sparrow could easily deter other demon races. This little girl, Bright Sparrow, had an inexplicable restraint on the demon race since she was born. Perhaps it was this restraint that made the old man develop a good impression on her. If this force was really the Dark Demon Force, everything would make sense. The old man's eyes revealed a struggling expression, but after pondering deeply, he believed 30% of Ning Fan's seemingly absurd judgment. The old man didn't understand how a pill devil could become the Imperial Dark Sparrow, but it seemed to be the truth. If this demonic force was the demonic force of the Dark Demon, then this void poison should have been a great benefit to Bright Sparrow. Perhaps after a few decades, she would have reached the spirit-severing realm even if she wasn't a void refinement expert. However, this void poison had always been suppressed by Ning Fan's medicinal liquid. Moreover, the medicinal force had unknowingly nourished the void poison, making it stronger and stronger. If Bright Sparrow could completely refine this void poison, perhaps it would be enough for her to break through to the void refinement realm, but such a terrifying poison wasn't something a gold-core little girl could devour. If Bright Sparrow died, she would certainly die from the void poison going out of control, and the reason why the void poison went out of control was because he had been suppressing it all along. How sure are you that she has the Dark Demon Force? The old man closed his eyes bitterly. 70%. Ning Fan replied plainly. Hee, after hearing what you said, I'm 80% sure, no wonder this void poison could absorb the medicinal liquid to grow. I understand now, can Bright Sparrow still be saved? Once the void poison is dispersed, she will die for sure. The 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave will be barren. Hee, little friend, you have underestimated the power of this void poison. If the void poison is dispersed, not only the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave will die for sure, but even the area 100,000 zhang below the ground and 100,000 li in radius will also be turned into ashes. Little friend, I won't talk nonsense with you anymore. Do you have any means to save her? I have, 30% confidence, 30%. Ning Fan closed his eyes slightly. Life and death were determined by fate. He only had 30% confidence to save the little girl. The little girl's physique was too strange and the level of the void poison was unknown. There were too many uncertainties. Is that so? 30%. I don't even have 10% confidence. If you are willing to save Bright Sparrow, what are your conditions? Tell me. The old man's eyes flickered and said sternly. I have 3 conditions. The first condition is that you have to hand over a trace of your true soul to me. In this way, if you harm me, I can severely injure you at any time. This is fine. The old man hesitated slightly. It wasn't because he was hesitant about handing over the true soul, but because Ning Fan's first condition wasn't to ask for benefits, but to protect himself. The second condition is that I want to use your 10,000-year-old spiritual herb. With it, my success rate will increase to 70%. 70%. Of course, this is fine. At first, the old man was disdainful when he heard that Ning Fan wanted a 10,000-year-old spiritual herb, but when he heard that the herb could increase the success rate of saving Bright Sparrow by 70%, the old man immediately agreed and was overjoyed. I haven't thought about the third condition. If I can save this little girl, I will ask for a reward based on this condition. If the treatment fails, the void poison will definitely disperse. I don't think this poison can spread to more than 100,000 zhang above the ground, but I believe that I will definitely die in the Dark Sparrow's grave. Ning Fan gave the old man a meaningful glance. The old man's previous statement that the void poison would destroy the land within 100,000 li was absolutely a lie. His purpose was to make Ning Fan think that he had no way to escape and take the risk to cure Bright Sparrow. Without this threat, the old man couldn't guarantee that Ning Fan wouldn't leave the Dark Sparrow's grave. However, he didn't know that Ning Fan had many shortcomings, but he would always repay kindness. The little girl's kindness to Ning Fan was insignificant, but if it wasn't to help Ning Fan, she wouldn't have used the dark demon force and triggered the void poison, putting herself in danger. However, this might be her fortune. If it wasn't for this, Ning Fan might have left this place without knowing that the girl's void poison would explode one day and she would die. There was a 70% chance of success in saving Ming Quebec. If he succeeds, Ning Fan would be fine. If he failed, the void poison would erupt, destroying the Dark Sparrow's grave, and he would die in the grave. A 30% chance of death was enough to frighten ordinary cultivators, but to Ning Fan, a 70% chance was enough for him to take the risk. If he didn't save Bright Sparrow, he would have to ask himself what kind of Tao he had cultivated. If he didn't save Bright Sparrow, his last bit of persistence towards kindness would become a joke. He would save Bright Sparrow not because of the old man's threat, nor was it because of the reward, but because of the persistence of his Tao heart. He slowly took out a sound transmission stone and sent a message to Xue Qing through a spell. Xue Qing, take Ji He, Xiao Lan and Sisi, leave the Dark Sparrow's grave as soon as possible. He had decided to take the risk himself and would never involve Ji He and the other girls. He didn't give any explanation to Xue Qing and the others. This is my Tao. Chapter 119. Old man Ming Luo separated a trace of his true soul and passed it to Ning Fan. As for Ning Fan, he followed old man Ming Luo into the 6th level. If Ming Luo made a move, Ning Fan would crush his true soul and Ming Luo would be gravely injured. If Ning Fan went back on his words, Ming Luo, who had regained the cultivation base of his void refinement clone, could easily kill Ning Fan even if Ning Fan had the black demon flame. Ning Fan had decided to cure Bright Sparrow's poison for the sake of his Tao heart. However, after entering the 6th floor, Ning Fan's expression immediately turned strange. This was because old man Ming Luo had stuffed the unconscious little Bright Sparrow into Ning Fan's arms. You carry her. I'll deal with those blind little things, but watch your hands. If you dare to touch her body, I'll kill you. After old man Ming Luo threatened him, he no longer paid attention to Ning Fan. He released all of his aura and swept across the 4 directions. One by one, the void refinement demonic beasts attacked him with sharp chi, but he couldn't see their whereabouts. The speed of the void refinement demonic beasts was too fast, so fast that Ning Fan couldn't identify them. All of the void refinement realm demonic beasts in this place were already unwilling to submit to Ming Luo. If Ming Ke was awake, it would be easier. With a flash of black light from her big eyes, all the demonic beasts would immediately submit to her. However, the deterrent force of Ming Luo was obviously not as strong as Ming Ke's to these void refinement realm demonic beasts. Fortunately, old man Ming Luo's true body was a void fragmentation old monster. Some of his techniques were naturally not something that void refinement realm demonic beasts could match. After a few attacks, these demonic beasts realized that they couldn't eat Ning Fan easily and left resentfully. All the scenes fell into Ning Fan's eyes and turned into a thought. He carried Bright Sparrow's petite body horizontally like a princess carry. The reason why Ming Luo carried Bright Sparrow was because he wanted to free his hands to deal with the enemy. In order to cure Bright Sparrow's poison, he needed a safe environment and a large amount of 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs. The spiritual herbs in the brocade pouch were not enough. Therefore, he had no choice but to go to the 9th level of the grave. Before that, Ning Fan had no choice but to temporarily seal the Bright Sparrow void poison using the profound medical technique inherited from ancient chaos and rushed to the 9th level. Holding the little girl in his arms, Ning Fan's heart wouldn't have any stray thoughts. Even if Ning Fan's didn't cultivate the yin-yang transformation, he wouldn't have any lust for a 7 or 8-year-old girl even if he didn't have any mental laws. Old man Ming Luo had thought too much. He had thought too much of the human race. The battle between Ming Luo and the void refinement realm demon beast was silent and untraceable. However, the surrounding forests were burnt and frozen. The mountains and rivers collapsed and the wasteland was cracked for hundreds of li. The rumbling sounds were endless. Ning Fan didn't care about such a level of battle. His mind was fully immersed in the rain in the 6th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. The raindrops of the 6th level weren't cold, but extremely sharp like sword light. Every single drop of rain seemed to be formed by sword chi. This technique wasn't simply transforming swords into rain. The profoundness of it all lay within the divine intent of rain. Ning Fan listened to Kei Shenxi's words. In the past, Kei Shenxi's killing intent was aroused in his heart when he was in the 6th level. As a result, the rain in this level was infected by his killing intent and the divine intent of rain that Kei Shenxi comprehended began to fuse with his killing intent. Move the heart to kill, turn the killing into the sword, turn the sword into the rain, and use the rain to kill. This is the comprehension of Kei Shenxi in the 6th level. Ning Fan spoke indifferently. He didn't fuse the divine intent of rain according to Kei Shenxi's comprehension. He had comprehended a trace of the divine intent of rain, but in order to truly master the divine intent, he still needed to fuse it with his own Tao. The rain of killing intent was Kei Shenxi's Tao, but not Ning Fan's Tao. But just by watching it, it would be a good reference. The 6th level of Dark Sparrow's grave was extremely vast. Ming Luo rode the immortal cloud and flew for at least hundreds of thousands of miles before a huge pit appeared. Finally, Ming Luo heaved a sigh of relief. His immortal cloud descended and rushed straight to the 7th level. As soon as he entered the huge pit, an old man who looked exactly the same as Ming Luo came treading on the sky. After a ray of traveling light, the old man and the old man merged into one. All of a sudden, Ming Luo's chi soared. Intermediate void refinement, late void refinement, first level, second level, third level, all the way to the fourth level before stopping. At this point, Ming Luo heaved a sigh of relief and said coldly, "All right, in the seventh level, this old man has merged with my true body, restoring my strength to the fourth level of void fragmentation. In this way, those first and second level void fragmentation demons in the seventh level will no longer be a threat to me. As long as I can safely cross the eighth level and enter the ninth level, everything will be under my control." Ning Fan was still holding Bright Sparrow's body. At this moment, Ming Luo was convinced that Ning Fan wouldn't have any evil thoughts towards Bright Sparrow. Feeling relieved, he began to concentrate all his attention, circulating his magical power and condensing it on his palm, as if he was preparing a magical art. Ming Luo didn't explain much, but Ning Fan could guess that the reason why he was so serious was to launch a deadly attack on some old monsters in the eighth level. In order to save Bright Sparrow, this old man was working very hard. No, he was risking his life. Under such circumstances, even if Ning Fan had the intention to help the old man and fight against the enemy together, he couldn't help the old man at all. A battle of void fragmentation wasn't something that a harmonious spirit expert like Ning Fan could intervene in. His task was to save Bright Sparrow with all his might after entering the ninth level of Dark Sparrow's grave. Before that, he would have sufficient time to comprehend the rain intent of the seventh level of Dark Sparrow's grave. The fifth level, Ice Rain. The sixth level, Sword Rain. The seventh level, Thunder Rain. The rumbling thunder exploded in Ning Fan's ears. Amidst the gale, torrential rain poured down from the sky and the earth. Such a violent momentum stirred Ning Fan's mind. He was infected by the impassioned and unyielding battle intent in the sound of the rain. That year, Kei Shensi must have made a great progress in his divine intent and used it to advance his cultivation base, causing his battle intent to surge. His surging battle intent blended with the divine intent of rain, turning the rain in this place into a thunderstorm. Thunder from the flat ground, rain from the sky, I want to kill. What echoed in Ning Fan's ears was the declaration of battle intent left by Kei Shensi in the divine intent of rain. Ning Fan opened his eyes, looking pensive. Kei Shensi thoroughly comprehended the divine intent of rain in the fifth level of Dark Sparrow's grave. In the sixth level, he blended his killing intent with the rain. In the seventh level, he blended his battle intent with the rain. What kind of Tao sense would he blend into the rain in the eighth level? This answer didn't bother Ning Fan for a long time. In the seventh level of Dark Sparrow's grave, Ming Luo was driving the immortal cloud at lightning speed. In just half an hour, he had crossed millions of miles and entered the huge pit that led to the eighth level. First and second level void fragmentation demonic beasts wouldn't dare to stop him. In the void fragmentation realm, every level was a world of difference. With Ming Luo's cultivation base at the fourth level of void fragmentation, he only needed one palm strike to kill a first level demonic beast. He only needed 3 palm strikes to kill a second level demonic beast. After passing through the world of thunderstorm, the rain in the eighth level made Ning Fan's eyes flicker for the first time. The rain here wasn't any different from the rain in the first, second, and fourth levels. It just flowed calmly like the calm ocean. However, this ocean must contain boundless unyielding intent. Otherwise, why would the rain fall from the ground to the sky? The eighth level of Dark Sparrow's grave, the heaven-defying rain. Ning Fan didn't need to listen to Kei Shensi's enlightenment. Just by looking at this scene, Ning Fan's heart shuddered. He recalled the oath that Kei Shensi made. This oath had become true in the eighth level. I want this rain to grow on the earth and fight against the heavens to achieve immortality. Ning Fan gently exhaled a breath of air. The divine intent of rain in the eighth level was not a small thing to him. The cultivators he faced had succumbed to fate. Even a powerful figure like the old devil was teased by fate. As for Ning Fan himself, he had never had the intention to change his fate. However, Kei Shensi was different. He dared to think and act. He had made an oath in the Dark Sparrow's grave to fight against the Four Heavens immortal world. Perhaps, his wish had already been fulfilled in the Four Heavens immortal world. This man had the courage to go against the heavens. Ning Fan slowly closed his eyes while holding Bright Sparrow in his arms. The trace of persistence in his heart was magnified infinitely. That persistence was to never cut off his emotions to form his core. Everyone would have this trace of obsession, but it was rare to find someone who could cultivate this obsession into his own Tao. Ning Fan was questioning his own heart and comprehending his own Tao during Kei Shensi's Tao enlightenment journey. I won't cut off my emotions. The moment these words resounded in his heart, a trace of mysterious enlightenment immediately fused with the divine rain intent. The seemingly impossible step of fusing the divine rain intent began to appear. The divine rain intent had fused. Ning Fan opened his eyes, which were filled with slight astonishment. However, he didn't have time to think about the changes in his body. From afar, several whistling sounds were already approaching. 3 void fragmentation experts, 2 at the 3rd layer and 1 at the 4th layer, were glaring at Ming Luo like a tiger with deep hatred. Hee, Ming Luo, your granddaughter seems to be in trouble. Do you need us to help her? An old man with snake scales on his face sneered in a peculiar manner. His snake eyes were staring at Bright Sparrow in Ning Fan's arms and licked his lips. Helping was fake, but killing was real. The snake-scaled old man's eyes darkened. Immediately, a strange demonic chi mixed with soul power penetrated into Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. Demonic soul. Only the demon race could cultivate the form of a soul. This child is not bad. Why don't I seize her body? This old monster was a snake-shaped demonic beast that had transformed into a human. His demonic soul was tyrannical and strange. It bypassed Ming Luo's body and invaded Ning Fan's body, attempting to invade Ning Fan's sea of consciousness and seize his body to refine it into an incarnation. Ming Luo's expression changed dramatically. He never expected that the snake-eyed old man's demonic soul was stronger than his. It bypassed him and sneaked an attack on Ning Fan. Ning Fan. Ming Luo's heart was filled with complex emotions. He couldn't wait for Ning Fan to die, but at least he didn't want anything to happen to Ning Fan before he could save Bright Sparrow. If Ning Fan was successfully seized by the snake-scaled old man, he would die for sure. In that case, who else could save Bright Sparrow? He revealed an anxious look and thought to himself. Ning Fan had a sword sense technique. Most likely, his sea of consciousness had condensed a sword sense. He didn't know whether this kid's sword sense was strong or not. It would be great if he could resist the snake-scaled old man's possession for a while. Then, he would crush the demonic soul in this kid's sea of consciousness. He withdrew the magical power that had been brewing in his palm for a long time and pointed at Ning Fan's glabella. He was racing against time to resolve the snake-scaled old man's possession. However, the 2 void fragmentation 3rd layer demons didn't stay idle. When the snake-scaled old man seized Ning Fan's body, the 2 of them attacked Ming Luo from the left and right, forcing him to withdraw his palm. Snake G. Don't go too far. I can't let you kill this kid no matter what. Ming Luo revealed an anxious expression. Hee, so what if I bully you? So what if I kill him? Xiong Kun, Tiger Ju, the 2 of you stop Ming Luo. Wait until I possess this kid and refine him into an incarnation. Then, I'll come and help the 2 of you. The snake-scaled old man sneered, as if he didn't take Ning Fan's possession seriously. A harmonious spirit human actually dared to enter the 8th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. Even the void fragmentation experts of the Rain Palace didn't dare to enter this place. This kid must be tired of living. Originally, the snake-scaled old man wouldn't put a harmonious spirit junior in his eyes. However, he could see that Ming Luo was extremely protective of Ning Fan along the way and that Ning Fan was very useful to him. Ning Fan was only a harmonious spirit expert and was extremely easy to kill. After killing this kid, Ming Luo's heart would be disturbed. Then, it would be easy to kill Ming Luo. However, just as his thought reached this point, he felt a heart-wrenching tearing sensation from his spirit sense. Arg! The snake-scaled old man screamed miserably. His eyes were filled with horror as he stared at Ning Fan. He thought that 1/3 of his soul force was more than enough to possess Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. However, the result was that the soul force that entered Ning Fan's sea of consciousness was crushed into pieces by a sword sense that was so sharp that it was suffocating. This is sword sense. No, even if it's sword sense or sword consciousness, it shouldn't have such power. What kind of sword chi is this sword chi that you condensed? You don't need to know. Old man Ming Luo, what are you waiting for? Do it now. A cold light flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. He had destroyed 1/3 of the snake-scaled old man's soul with his sword consciousness, but he had also suffered some injuries. Ning Fan would remember this enmity. From the moment the snake-scaled old man seized Ning Fan's body to the miserable shriek, the 2/3 level void fragmentation demons hadn't reacted to what had happened. Only Ming Luo vaguely guessed that Ning Fan had used some strange means to ambush the snake-scaled old man. There was no need for Ning Fan to urge him to take action. As soon as Ming Luo saw the reversal of the situation, he immediately seized the chance to win. He gathered the magical power that had been brewing in his body for a long time in his palm and struck out. A 10,000 zhang huge withered tree palm pressed down on the snake-scaled old man and the other 2 demons with a terrifying pressure that could engulf the heaven and earth. The 3 of them were caught off guard and immediately used all their strength to defend against the palm force. At this critical moment, Ming Luo immediately drove the immortal cloud with all his strength, rushing straight to the huge pit in the 9th level. The 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave had the immortal bone of Dark Sparrow and the 100,000 incarnations of Ming Luo tree. That was the place where Ming Luo dominated. Not to mention the snake-scaled old man and the other 2 demons, even a true immortal would lose a layer of skin if he entered that place. After traveling for 100,000 li, Ming Luo's spirit sense swept back and found that he had shaken off the snake-scaled old man and the other 2 demons. At the same time, he glanced at Ning Fan. For the first time, he had a trace of respect for this young man. This young man had actually ambushed a 4th level void fragmentation old monster. Whether it was due to the snake's extreme carelessness or not, Ning Fan was proud of himself. Kid, this old man, Ming Luo, owes you a favor. Is that so? Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took a few healing pills. Only then did his complexion look slightly better. He ambushed the snake-scaled old man purely to protect himself, but since Ming Luo had determined that he owed Ning Fan a favor, Ning Fan wouldn't be stupid enough to deny it. The 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave wasn't far away. The giant palm force was the palm force that Ming Luo had been preparing for a long time. It was extremely powerful. The 3 void fragmentation old monsters joined forces to receive it. They had to use all kinds of methods to disperse the palm force and shatter the giant palm. The 2/3 level void fragmentation demons sighed. This palm was enough to show the tyrannical strength of Ming Luo. It seemed to be a mistake for the 2 of them to provoke Ming Luo with their 3rd level void fragmentation strength. As for the snake-scaled old man, his face was extremely gloomy. He originally planned to bring people to ambush Ming Luo, but he didn't expect to be ambushed by a harmonious spirit junior, injuring his soul. Ming Luo's palm even affected the injury of his soul. Hateful. Chase, chase, chase. We can't let them escape, especially that harmonious spirit human. The snake-scaled old man hated Ning Fan to the extreme. His hatred was even stronger than his hatred for Ming Luo. However, Ming Luo had already escaped far away and the snake-scaled old man was injured. How could they catch up? Hateful. This is the first humiliation of my life. Chapter 120. The ninth level of the world of Dark Sparrow's grave. As far as the eye could see, there was a sea of 300 meters tall giant trees. Above the sea of trees, there was a light drizzle. Ming Luo's tightened face finally loosened up a little when he arrived at this place. You'll be safe after escaping to this place. Each towering tree here is a spirit-severing clone of this old man. There are more than 100,000 of them. Ming Luo's words were both a comfort and a warning. Thus, Ning Fan did not have to worry about the snake-scaled elderly man's pursuit. At the same time, he also understood that it was best for him to treat Ming Kei's poison obediently after entering this place. Otherwise, any divine transformation realm giant tree here could pose a great threat to his life. Hurry up and start the treatment. The time for my technique to suppress the poison is almost up. Ning Fan's expression remained unchanged. He didn't put Ming Luo's threat in his heart. His eyes swept across the drizzle in the ninth level of Dark Sparrow's grave and immediately closed his eyes. The drizzle here had no special characteristics. It was no different from the ordinary rain curtain in the mortal world. However, Ning Fan had gained a great understanding of the divine intent of rain. He could see that there shouldn't be any rain in the ninth level of Dark Sparrow's grave. This rain was transformed by the divine intent. It had nothing to do with magical power or magical technique. It was merely the divine intent that summoned the rain from heaven and earth. When the void god intent was cultivated to the extreme, it could change the law of heaven and earth. In the immemorial era, it was said that there was a demon ancestor torch dragon who had a unique understanding of the law. By opening and closing his eyes, he could change day and night. By inhaling and exhaling, he could change the seasons. Immortals could turn stone into gold, turn the rotten into the divine, and turn the autumn into spring. All of these were closely related to the void god intent. Of course, an ordinary spirit-severing cultivator might not be able to change the law of heaven and earth even if he comprehended the void god intent and integrated it with his own Tao. Changing the laws required great magical force and divine ability. When Kei Shensi comprehended the divine intent of rain, his cultivation base was extremely profound and he was already a true immortal expert. That was why he was able to leave behind traces of Tao enlightenment in the rain curtain. There was no rain in the ninth level of Dark Sparrow's grave. However, in the past, a black-robed old man activated the divine intent of rain with just a sentence and made it rain in the ninth level. If I tell you to rain, you have to. This is an order. This sentence had turned all the heroic spirit into a plain tone, but it was still overbearing, because this sentence was said by Kei Shensi to the heavens. From the first to the ninth level, Ning Fan had completely relived Kei Shensi's Tao enlightenment journey in the past. His heart was deeply touched. This kind of feeling would further promote Ning Fan to fuse and form his own divine intent of rain. In this world, there were no raindrops that were exactly the same, and there were no divine wills that were exactly the same. Merging the Tao heart into the spirit intent. If this step was completed, Ning Fan's could completely condense the spirit intent when he reached the harmonious spirit realm. Although he couldn't use it for the time being, countless early spirit-severing old monsters would be envious of him just by condensing the divine intent. Not every old monster could condense the void spirit intent. Many early spirit-severing old monsters couldn't condense the void spirit intent in their entire lives. That was why their cultivation base remained stagnant at the early stage. His state of mind slowly rose as he comprehended Tao. Ning Fan seemed to be welcoming his third transformation in the Dark Sparrow's grave. The first metamorphosis was his identity. His identity turned from mortal to cultivation. The second metamorphosis was his means. His means emerged endlessly and began to grow stronger. The transformation this time was most likely a transformation of the state of mind. Ning Fan's strength was far stronger than the likes of Bai Feidong and Yan Bai. He was afraid that he wasn't any weaker than Gui Qiaozi. However, no matter how his heart was polished by the memory of the ancient chaos, it was still the heart of a teenager. It was inevitable that there would be some immaturity in it. This immaturity was reflected in his life experience. He could imitate the ancient chaos great emperor's style of doing things, but there were many things that he would never understand if he didn't experience it himself. Just like many years ago, Ning Fan raised his head and yearned for the immortals that could fly in the sky. He thought that the immortals were carefree. Now, it seemed that the life of the immortals was no different from that of mortals. It was still a cycle of alternating joy and sorrow. They still needed to work hard step by step to carve out a future. He closed his eyes slightly and carefully comprehended this trace of emotion. However, in his arms, the unconscious little girl Bright Sparrow suddenly let out a cry. A trace of black blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth and a trace of pain appeared on her pale eyebrows. Her poison is acting up. I need to quickly go to a place with a sea of fire, and prepare these 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs as soon as possible. I want to cure her poison there. Ning Fan's face turned solemn. He patted his storage pouch and took out a jade slip. He imprinted the names of some spiritual herbs with his spirit sense and gave it to Ming Luo. You must cure her, Ming Luo said solemnly. In the 9th level of the Dark Sparrow's grave, there was an abyss and a dormant volcano. The reason why it became a dormant volcano was because there was a 900,000 zhang tall demonic beast skeleton lying beside the volcano. It was the bone of the immemorial Dark Sparrow. This bone emitted the unique cold-yin energy of the Dark Sparrow, extinguishing the volcano. The cold-yin energy spread across the 9th level of the Dark Sparrow's grave, causing it to rain endlessly. It spread out from the Dark Sparrow Valley, making Sinister Sparrow sect chilly and suitable for cultivation. This skeleton was extraordinary, but at this moment, Ning Fan obviously didn't have the mood to examine it. He carried more than 10 kinds of 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs and carried the unconscious little Lolita in his arms. A ray of light stopped at the crater of the volcano. Looking at the blazing magma in the depths of the volcano, his scalp went numb. After a moment of hesitation, the black demon flame dispersed, turning into a flaming shield that wrapped around his body. Then, he leaped into the crater. The power of the flame here had probably reached the level of 4th grade spiritual fire, which was only 1 grade lower than the earth vein demonic fire. If Ning Fan hadn't devoured the black demon flame, he wouldn't dare to enter this place. The reason why he came here was to suppress the void poison in Bright Sparrow's body. The void poison originated from the tail feathers of the immemorial Dark Sparrow. This poison was deadly to ordinary people, but to Bright Sparrow, it was a good thing to improve her cultivation base. Unfortunately, with Ming Luo Tren's help, the void poison was suppressed by the 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs time and time again. Moreover, the medicinal efficacy of the herbs was being absorbed, making the poison even more powerful. Given Bright Sparrow's gold core magical force, it was absolutely impossible for her to refine the void poison. However, with Ning Fan's help, the outcome would be unpredictable. In order to suppress the extremely cold void poison, Bright Sparrow had to come to this place of magma and use the heat to nourish the immortal veins in her body. Within 10,000 meters of the volcano, the dark green magma was bubbling and emitting heat. The heat was somewhat unbearable for Ning Fan, but when it blew on Bright Sparrow's body, it turned into a trace of comfort and warmth. It's warm, warm. Bright Sparrow opened her big eyes in a daze, revealing a sweet smile to Ning Fan. She realized that Ning Fan was going to treat her poison. She had a good impression of this big brother who concocted flatbread for her. Is it just warm? Ning Fan's eyes revealed a pensive look. The heat here was so hot that even he couldn't stand it, but to Bright Sparrow, it was just warmth. Previously, Bright Sparrow's little hands even dared to reach into the boiling cauldron and take the pills with her hands. All of these shouldn't be the ability given to her by the cold-yin force of the void poison. Pill devil physique, Ning Fan's eyes revealed a look of understanding. He vaguely understood Bright Sparrow's physique. There was no doubt that Bright Sparrow was a pill devil. Moreover, she was a fifth revolution pill that had transformed into a human pill devil. However, this pill devil was born in the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave, right next to the remains of immemorial Dark Sparrow. It seemed that when the pill devil obtained spirituality, it was nourished by the remains of Dark Sparrow, causing a mutation. At this moment, Dark Sparrow could be said to be an extremely high-quality pill or a demonic beast that had the chance to advance to the immemorial Dark Sparrow royal clan. According to Xue Qing and Ming Luo, the time for Bright Sparrow to completely transform would be in the next thousands of years. The pill devil was the body of a pill that was concocted from a cauldron. As for a fifth revolution pill, the earth fire used to concoct it was certainly not lower than the 5th grade earth fire. After going through layers upon layers of earth fire, it would take the shape of a pill and transform into a devil. Naturally, little Bright Sparrow wouldn't be afraid of fire. After all, she was born in fire. However, there was a question that concerned Ning Fan. Was the birth of little Bright Sparrow the will of heaven or was it man-made? If it was the will of heaven, then forget it. If it was man-made, then the body of Pill Devil was fused with the soul of Dark Sparrow royal family. One day, when little Bright Sparrow's cultivation base improved, the grade of the pill would also improve accordingly. Because of the soul of Dark Sparrow royal family, the grade of the pill would reach a level that could move the heart of a true immortal. If Bright Sparrow was created by a true immortal, then perhaps this true immortal would come back one day to take away this pill of Bright Sparrow. That true immortal was just a guess. He didn't know if the true immortal really existed, but the only thing he was sure of was that if the true immortal really existed, he wouldn't be Kei Shensi. From Kei Shensi's Tao enlightenment, Ning Fan could see the true immortal's character. This true immortal was a decisive and domineering person. He would never spend countless years on a pill devil. Given Kei Shensi's character, he would rob whatever pill he wanted. Dark Sparrow's grave. Demon's Sinister Forest. Demon's Sinister Forest was the forbidden land of Sinister Sparrow's sect that was sealed by Kei Shensi, but it didn't seem to be arranged by him. The one who raised the ghost was someone else. Could it be possible that the one who raised the ghost was raising another pill devil in the Dark Sparrow's grave? Hundreds of thoughts flashed across his mind, but in the end, he shook his head. Everything was just a guess. He couldn't figure out the truth. The priority now was to treat Bright Sparrow's poison. Facing the unconscious Bright Sparrow, Ning Fan's face was as calm as an ancient well. He gently undid the buttons on her black skirt and took off her clothes. Immediately, a petite snow-white body was revealed. The body of a 7 or 8-year-old girl was almost the same as a boy. If this could still arouse Ning Fan's evil thoughts, it would be heaven-defying. Without any distractions, Ning Fan took out a jade bowl and ground the 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs into medicinal liquid. The medicinal effect of the liquid was less than 1/10 of that of the concocting pill. It was a complete waste. However, Ning Fan didn't have the time to concoct a 5th revolution pill to save Bright Sparrow's life. Although the medicinal liquid was poor, there was a lot of it and it was enough for Bright Sparrow. He dipped his finger into the viscous and milky medicinal liquid, drew a mysterious formation mark, and smeared it on Bright Sparrow's tender body. The unconscious little girl felt Ning Fan's finger touching her body. A trace of shyness emerged in her heart, causing her face to be filled with panic. She wouldn't normally feel shy, but there were some complicated memories in her mind, which made her understand shyness. Gradually, she vaguely felt that it was extremely inappropriate for her body to be touched by Ning Fan like this. "Cookie brother, don't touch here. You can't. I will give birth to a lot of babies." Bright Sparrow's face was blushing and she sounded like she was about to cry. "You are just a little girl. Who taught you these messy things? Could it be Ming Luo?" Ning Fan knitted his brows. There was absolutely no romantic feelings between a 7 or 8-year-old girl. What made him dissatisfied was that Ming Luo, who looked like a decent old man, actually taught Bright Sparrow those messy things between a man and a woman. Otherwise, it was impossible for a little girl to blush just by touching her body. Ning Fan had really wronged Ming Luo. Ming Luo was just a tree spirit. He might not even know about the matters between a man and a woman. How could he have taught Bright Sparrow anything? All of these were the incomplete memories that were inherited from the void poison. As the poison was suppressed, the memories were gradually spread. No, don't. Cookie brother, I beg you, don't use that thing to poke me. I'm afraid of pain. Bright Sparrow pleaded in a daze. You are thinking too much. Little girl, don't let your imagination run wild. What poke or not, forget it. I will let you have some peace first. Ning Fan shook his head helplessly. He pointed at Bright Sparrow's forehead, letting her sleep soundly. Originally, he only had less than 70% success rate in detoxifying Bright Sparrow's poison. After being disturbed by Bright Sparrow, the formation mark wasn't perfectly drawn out, making the success rate even lower. The first step was to draw hundreds of formation marks on Bright Sparrow's naked body, imitating the hundreds of immortal veins, drawing out the void poison from the immortal veins and attaching it to the surface of her body. At first, Ning Fan didn't have any distracting thoughts. He didn't even think about the matters between a man and a woman. But after being disturbed by Bright Sparrow, he felt slightly strange. A pill devil who had lived for hundreds and thousands of years and vaguely knew about the matters between a man and a woman, could she still be considered as a little girl? When his finger was drawing the formation mark, it inadvertently brushed past the tender body of the little girl. Immediately, his heart shuddered. Ning Fan, you can't do things that are not sexual. You are a devil, but not a sexual creature. He muttered to himself in his heart. He suppressed all the stray thoughts and only completed the formation mark after a long time. The unconscious Bright Sparrow's long hair was like a waterfall. A trace of warmth gradually rose on her tender skin. The void poison was being suppressed. However, the unclear memories in the unconscious Bright Sparrow's mind were increasing. I am the princess of the immemorial Dark Sparrow race. My name is Seedsong. Chapter 121. The first step was to draw 100 formation runes on Bright Sparrow's body. The second step was to channel the void poison into the runes of the array, leaving only a little for Bright Sparrow, who was at the Gold Core realm, to devour. The rest was to be sealed. The first step was to outline the formation runes. There was no room for error. With Ning Fan's spirit sense and the Tao of formations, it was not difficult for him to do so. However, the second step involved the separation of the seal and the void poison. Ning Fan didn't have too much confidence in this step. Even after feeding the unconscious Bright Sparrow several kinds of fire attribute 10,000-year-old spiritual herbs, his confidence was still less than 70%. The stronger the suppression of the surrounding fire might on the void poison, the greater the chances of sealing it. Ning Fan stood on a piece of burning hot flint and looked at the dark green magma beneath his feet. After pondering for a moment, he carried Ming Ke in his arms with one of his hands and summoned the black demon flame to protect his body with the other hand. Then, he leaped into the magma. It sank. The deeper he went, the stronger the might of the lava became. Ning Fan's magical power was rapidly depleted in the process of resisting the might of the lava. He took out a 10,000-year-old spirit herb called Ganoderma lucidum and took a bite. Immediately, magic power filled his body. 10,000 years black Ganoderma. It was a rare 10,000 years old spiritual medicine that could be consumed directly. It couldn't increase one's cultivation base, but it could quickly restore one's magical force. It was extremely expensive, even ordinary nascent soul cultivators might not be able to afford it. This mysterious Ganoderma was provided by Ming Luo, but Ning Fan did not feel distressed at all. At this moment, saving people's lives was the priority. Wasting spirit herbs was not worth mentioning. His magic power was depleted and replenished again and again. Each time, his magic power would become more condensed. At the bottom of the magma, Ning Fan stopped diving. He had already eaten 1/3 of the 10 millennia mysterious Ganoderma. If he dived any deeper, he might not have enough dermic powers to return to the volcano. The might of the fire here was far stronger than Ning Fan had expected. Under the might of the fire, the void poison in Bright Sparrow's body was inevitably suppressed. The success rate of sealing the void poison had increased once again. His eyes turned cold as he shot out a black flame and lifted Bright Sparrow's body up. His divine sense entered Bright Sparrow's body and immediately, it started to freeze. This strange method of freezing one's divine sense was exactly the same as what had happened in the rain pond in the second layer of the Dark Sparrow's grave. It seemed like this was the reason why Ning Fan's spirit sense was frozen at that time. However, this place wasn't the second level of the rain pond, and Ning Fan had devoured the black demon flame, the earth vein demonic flame. A black flame flashed in his eyes, and the frozen divine sense instantly melted. His divine sense carefully traveled along the meridians in Bright Sparrow's body, guiding the void poison into the formation patterns on the surface of her body bit by bit. 1, 2, 10, 20, 30, all the way to the 43rd. From the beginning to the end, Ning Fan had been concentrating all of his attention. He did not spare a single trace of his spirit sense for other purposes. The void poison was also slowly guided by him, completing the sealing of the 43rd meridian. However, at this moment, a sense of life and death crisis suddenly came from behind. It was the roar of a beast. It turned out to be the fire spirit that had formed inside the volcano. These fire spirits had dark green flame bodies and each of them was only at the harmonious spirit realm. However, as a sneak attack, each of their magical techniques struck Ning Fan's body. Even with the silver light body refinement realm, he was still severely injured. Moreover, the sealing of the 43rd immortal vein nearly failed. Mere fire spirit, you're courting death. His glabella turned cold. He patted the top of his head and summoned the incarnation of his soul sense. A black-robed figure stepped out from Ning Fan's body. His appearance was exactly the same as Ning Fan's, but there seemed to be a few mysterious patterns on half of his face. His expression was filled with killing intent and anger. His half-step nascent soul chi swept across the sea of fire. Which fire spirit was the one that injured me just now? How dare you stop me from saving people? Courting death. The incarnation of Ning Fan moved like a ghost. Every time he pointed with his finger, vast magical power would spread out, and a few fire spirits would explode and die. After these fire spirits exploded, they would occasionally produce a red spiritual pearl. The incarnation of Ning Fan kept the pearl in his hand with cold eyes. Demon core. Only by killing gold core demons can one obtain their demon core. It seems like some of these fire spirits have already reached the edge of breaking through to the gold core realm. Unfortunately, you've offended me. You'll never have the chance to form your gold core in this lifetime. The incarnation of Ning Fan turned his head and said to the human Ning Fan. You save Bright Sparrow again. I'm going to kill them. Don't worry. The incarnation was a soul that was divided into two people. Neither of them could be considered as Ning Fan. In other words, both of them could only be considered as half of Ning Fan. The left hand and the right hand would never argue. The two of them were the two different parts of Ning Fan. Many cultivators above void fragmentation like to refine their second incarnation because they were the only person in the world who would never betray them. They cultivated the Tao all their lives and were always cautious. In the end, they only believed in themselves and no one else. The incarnation was the self while the clone was an illusion. It was hard to describe how profound it was. However, after the incarnation of Ning Fan dived deeper into the magma, the blood-curdling screams of slaughter gradually faded away. Far away, the human Ning Fan was still sealing the void poison for little Bright Sparrow without batting an eyelid. Her injuries weren't light, but Ning Fan didn't have the time to heal them. He had to suppress her injuries and save her. Cookie brother, thank you, you're the best. The unconscious Bright Sparrow opened her blurry eyes and gave Ning Fan a sweet smile. No need to thank me, does it hurt? No, it doesn't hurt. The sealing of the void poison was an extremely painful thing, but Bright Sparrow still showed a casual smile. She was a strong little girl. Bear with it. It won't take long. After sealing the void poison, I will refine a cookie for you. Ning Fan's tone was like coaxing a child. Bright Sparrow's eyes were filled with expectation. The pain seemed to have disappeared. Of course. 50 seals, 60 seals, 99 seals. Ning Fan couldn't seal the void poison perfectly due to his injuries, but he managed to complete 99 seals. The last seal was to link all the seals together. From then on, 90% of the void poison in Bright Sparrow's body would be sealed in the formation marks on the surface of her body. 10% of the void poison was sealed in her body by Ning Fan, slowly spreading out for her to refine. He only needed the last seal to succeed, but Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn as he found out that he couldn't seal the last seal no matter how hard he tried. He found out that there was a seal hidden in Bright Sparrow's body. It was a pill seal. In order to prevent the pill from being consumed by someone else, the owner of a high-grade pill would plant a pill seal in the pill. If the pill fell into the hands of someone else who didn't know about the pill seal would be activated and the pill would turn into ashes. What they couldn't get, they wouldn't let others get it. This was the style of many experts. Bright Sparrow was a pill devil, and there was a pill seal in her body. This confirmed Ning Fan's bad guess. Bright Sparrow was indeed a pill master created by someone. Moreover, that pill master had planted a pill seal in Bright Sparrow's body. It was this pill seal that stopped Ning Fan from placing the last seal. Cookie brother, what's wrong? Bright Sparrow blinked her eyes. Her consciousness was gradually returning to normal after the void poison was almost fully sealed. It's nothing, it's just a pill seal cast by a mere 9th Revolution pill master. Ning Fan's face sank. A 7th Revolution pill master could already concoct void fragmentation pills. A 9th Revolution pill master must have a great reputation among the true immortals. He was already a 9th Revolution pill master, but he was still setting up a pill devil. What was that pill master trying to do? Was he trying to concoct a pill that surpassed 9th Revolution? He had no enmity with that mysterious pill master, but since he had a slight relationship with Bright Sparrow, he couldn't just watch Bright Sparrow be eaten by that pill master one day. Ning Fan didn't have a 9th Revolution pill concoction technique, but he had a few means to break the 9 Revolution pill seal. His eyes flickered with a cold light, but he immediately retracted it and said to Bright Sparrow with a smile as if nothing had happened. Don't worry. The 100th seal will be ready soon. From today onwards, you are free. Ning Fan took out bottles and jars and began to grind the medicinal liquid. Half an hour later, the pill seal was broken. The 100th seal was formed. All of a sudden, Bright Sparrow's chi soared. Her petite body floated up and slowly transformed under the magma. Her chi rose abruptly from early Gold Core Realm to mid-Gold Core Realm, late Gold Core Realm and finally peak. There was also a supreme and cold majesty gradually forming in Bright Sparrow's eyes, a majesty that didn't match her body at all. At the same time, in the easternmost land of Rain Immortal World, in the Endless Sea, among the 103,000 islands, on a huge floating island, a goddess statue suddenly shone with black light. At this moment, all the experts on the island were pleasantly surprised. Goddess, it's the goddess. The goddess didn't abandon us. The goddess has returned. A spirit-severing old priest knelt down in front of the goddess statue while trembling. All the other clansmen also knelt down at this moment. If one took a closer look, one would notice that although these cultivators were humans, their bodies didn't have divine veins or devil veins, they had demon veins. It was an immortal vein that couldn't be formed by humans even in ancient times. Each of them was emitting powerful demon chi. They were dignified spirit-severing old monsters, but they were kneeling and kowtowing in front of the statue. All of this was because this statue used to worship the princess of the immemorial Dark Sparrow. Chapter 122. After helping her put on her clothes, Ning Fan looked at Ming Kei indifferently and carefully observed her. Pill Devil. A devil raised by a 9th Revolution Pill Master. Ning Fan said these 2 words to comfort Bright Sparrow, but he couldn't help but feel shocked in his heart. A 9th Revolution Pill Master. He had broken Bright Sparrow's pill seal. Perhaps, he would offend an extremely terrifying and ruthless person in the future. When Bright Sparrow was in a deep sleep, she was no different from a mortal girl. 90% of the void poison was sealed and turned into a mark of intertwining formation marks, branded on her chest. 10% of the void poison was sealed in the demonic vein. Bright Sparrow had already broken through to the peak of Gold Core Realm before she could completely refine this poison. If she could refine 10% of the void poison, it wouldn't be difficult for her to break through to the nascent soul realm. In fact, it might even be possible for her to break through to the spirit-severing realm. Bright Sparrow's origin and future would far surpass Ning Fan. She had awakened a trace of dark demon force. This was the unique power of the Dark Sparrow of the royal family, which could intimidate groups of demons. Perhaps even the 9 Revolution Pill Refinement Master who nurtured the devil didn't expect this to happen. The body of a pill demon was impervious to fire and water. The Dark Sparrow of the royal clan, the boundless demon Tao. It wouldn't take too long for her to reach the nascent soul realm and the spirit-severing realm. Once she attained the spirit-severing realm, Bright Sparrow would be able to break the seal on her own and completely refine the void poison. At that time, there might be a new void fragmentation expert in the Rain Immortal world. Compared to ordinary people, Ning Fan's ancient chaos memories was like ascending to the heavens in a single bound. But compared to Bright Sparrow, it was still a far cry. In the 4 heavens immortal world, there were countless descendants of fiend gods like Bright Sparrow who were blessed by the heavens. The sky was divided into 4 seas, which were the 4 celestial realms. The world was divided into 9 worlds. The Rain world was only one of them. Moksha Emperor was merely an expert of the 9 worlds. Ascending to the 4 heavens was nothing to him. Slowly closing his eyes, Ning Fan tried to calm his complicated feelings. No matter what, he would not lose to Moksha Emperor. As for those descendants of the fiend gods of the heaven realm, he might not necessarily lose. Following the sealing of the void poison, the pair of black wings on Bright Sparrow's back gradually disappeared and the mysterious runes on her face also began to disappear. Her breathing gradually became even. Ning Fan heaved a sigh of relief at this moment. It seemed like there were no sequelae after the sealing. He had a 70% chance of success. There was no excitement, only a matter of course. If he failed, he would definitely die. Therefore, he could not lose. He did not leave with Bright Sparrow immediately. Instead, he waited above the lava. He was waiting for the incarnation of his thought spirit. The sense soul incarnation had entered the magma to chase after the fire spirit. It had been a long time, and even now, it still hadn't come out. Due to the urgency of the matter, Ning Fan couldn't care less about the instability of his incarnation. In order to resist the fire spirit, he forcefully summoned his incarnation. His incarnation had left his body for a few hours. Perhaps, it had already exploded. However, Ning Fan did not sense his incarnation exploding. It seemed a little strange. No, from the moment the incarnation appeared, it was extremely strange. This time, not only did the incarnation show no signs of exploding, it was even more balanced with the main body. Moreover, after separating from his incarnation, Ning Fan was no longer wearing white robes and a black cloak. As for his incarnation, he was clad in black robes. That kind of situation was like a black and white intersecting yin and yang fish that was separated, and this separation was not just a simple separation, but a separation of personalities, a complete separation of the body in the sea of consciousness. After the black body left his body, the white-robed Ning Fan gradually realized that his sea of consciousness had disappeared from the top of his head. If an ordinary cultivator's sea of consciousness disappeared, they would die without a doubt. However, even though Ning Fan's sea of consciousness had disappeared, his physical body was still intact and he could exert the power of spirit sense. As for his personality, the moment the black body left his body, it was divided into two halves. The white-robed Ning Fan, who had an easygoing smile, was the sunny side of the true body. As for the black-robed Ning Fan, his appearance was filled with dense killing intent, which was the ruthless side of the true body. On the rock, Ning Fan, no, the white-robed Ning Fan, pondered for a moment. The separation of the incarnation this time was different from the past. Why was it like this? All of these changes seemed to have happened after entering Dark Sparrow's grave. Recalling the scene of the incarnation's appearance, the white-robed Ning Fan suddenly recalled something. When the black-robed Ning Fan first appeared, there seemed to be some strange patterns on his face. He didn't pay much attention to it at that time, but after thinking about it carefully, those patterns turned out to be the divine intent of rain. No, not only the divine intent of rain, but also the chi of the yin-yang locket. Could it be that the yin-yang locket had fused with the divine intent of rain, causing the incarnation to undergo a qualitative change? The separation of personalities, the sea of consciousness and the physical body. The white-robed Ning Fan inherited the physical body, yin-yang devil vein, magical treasures and divine abilities, as well as the easygoing and sunny personality. The black-robed Ning Fan inherited the sword sense, the murderous chi of an immortal emperor, and the ruthlessness of killing people like scything flax. From the moment the incarnation was separated, the white-robed Ning Fan on the rock was no longer Ning Fan, but half of him. The black-robed Ning Fan was no longer illusory. It had completely solidified, and it was also half of Ning Fan. When the black and white Ning Fan merged into one, it was the unification of yin and yang, becoming the real Ning Fan. Thinking of this, the white-robed Ning Fan smiled faintly. Along the way, he comprehended the divine intent of rain, fused a trace of Tao heart, condensed a trace of his own divine intent, and imprinted it on the incarnation with the help of the yin-yang locket. When the incarnation was completely solidified, the black-robed Ning Fan would become the black-robed Ning Fan. This meant that he could release his incarnation at any time in the future, and he would have a half-step nascent soul helper. The black-robed Ning Fan's half-step nascent soul cultivation base alone was enough to compete with the old ancestor-level figures of Yu country. This time, he had gained a great harvest in Dark Sparrow's grave. But I wonder if there will be any changes when the incarnation fuses into one. The white-robed Ning Fan stood on the rock with his hands clasped behind his back. After a long time, he opened his eyes and smiled faintly. His heart sensed that the black-robed Ning Fan was coming from the bottom of the magma. Sure enough, after a while, a black light flashed and left the magma. It flew to the rock and looked at the white-robed Ning Fan. This was the incarnation of the black-robed Ning Fan. Is the fire spirit settled? The white-robed Ning Fan asked with a smile. The black-robed Ning Fan's expression was cold, as if he never smiled. He flicked his sleeve and hundreds of warm fiery red demon cores were taken out and handed to the white-robed Ning Fan. The white-robed Ning Fan didn't say anything. He kept the demon cores and looked at the black-robed Ning Fan with a strange light in his eyes. From today onwards, I am not Ning Fan and you are not Ning Fan. We are just half Ning Fan. The black-robed Ning Fan said coldly. He looked at the white-robed Ning Fan as if he was looking at himself. Immediately, the white-robed and the black-robed Ning Fan took a step forward and merged into one in a burst of brilliance. The brilliance faded and Ning Fan returned to his white robe and black cloak. After a long time, he opened his eyes and revealed a playful smile. Interesting. The white-robed Ning Fan and the black-robed Ning Fan were both himself. One yang and one yin, one hot and one cold, one white and one black, one life and one death. The main reason for this was the cultivation of the divine art of chanting. Comprehending the divine intent of rain was a turning point, and the yin-yang locket was the key to triggering the change. This was the divine ability that only void fragmentation old monsters could master. Today, it was completely mastered by Ning Fan. He looked at the sleeping bright sparrow with a smile and hugged her in his arms. Then, he leaped into the air and dashed out of the crater. The white-robed Ning Fan and the black-robed Ning Fan are both Ning Fan. But after the separation, I can no longer call myself Ning Fan. After the separation, the white-robed Ning will change his name to Bai Fan. The black-robed Ning will change his name to Mo Ning. Bai Fan and Mo Ning. This was the Tao of yin-yang. Chapter 123. In the continuous rain, he landed on a giant tree that was tens of thousands of feet tall. This tree covered the sky and was as lofty as a giant peak. It was the tree body of old man Ming Luo. After landing on the giant tree, a spirit sense that was even stronger than a fourth-layer void fragmentation realm spirit sense immediately scanned across Ning Fan. After sensing that bright sparrow was safe and sound, that spirit sense seemed to be slightly relieved. Enter this old man's body. An indifferent voice came from the gigantic tree. Immediately, the tree trunk in front of Ning Fan's cracked open, revealing a gigantic door that was tens of zhang tall. This tree was the Ming Luo tree, the original body of old man Ming Luo. Even the short and small old man who was at the fourth heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm was merely formed by the demonic soul of the Ming Luo tree spirit. His original body was a tree that grew in the dark and gloomy underground. He hated fire, and his original body couldn't leave the ground. The aura force of his true body was extremely strong. It was a piece of cake for him to kill that fourth heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old man with snake scales. Since he could not leave the ground, the tree spirit could only leave his body to search for bright sparrow. That was why the monsters on the 8th level could take advantage of him. If the demons of the 8th floor dared to behave atrociously in the 9th floor, Ming Luo would turn all of them into his fertilizer. Ning Fan was slightly stunned by Ming Luo's true strength. When he thought about it, Ming Luo seemed to owe him a favor. If he asked Ming Luo to help him kill Moksha Emperor, Ming Luo would most likely not reject it. But unfortunately, Ming Luo's main body couldn't leave the 9th level, and his clone was restricted. Every time he went up a level, his cultivation would drop a little, and he couldn't leave the Dark Sparrow's tomb. Just like what Ming Luo had said, there was only one way for him to leave Dark Sparrow's grave. Burning his demon soul and using his death as the price to break the law of heaven and earth. Thinking of this, Ning Fan let out a bitter smile. Asking Ming Luo to kill Moksha Sovereign was somewhat unrealistic. Moreover, Ning Fan was more inclined to take Moksha Sovereign's life with his own hands. Of course, the prerequisite was that he had the confidence to kill Moksha Sovereign. Within the giant tree, there were 9 bends and 10 bends, slowly bending towards the world at the heart of the tree. At the heart of the tree, there was a magnificent wooden palace. As soon as a short black-robed old man saw Ning Fan, he immediately came out to welcome him. The void poison has been suppressed. He sounded extremely excited. Looking at Bright Sparrow who was sleeping peacefully in Ning Fan's arms, his eyes were filled with affection. Fortunately, I didn't fail you. Ning Fan said indifferently. All right. Good. Go to Bright Sparrow's room and let her rest for a period of time to recover her demonic essence. He placed Bright Sparrow on the bed in the room and allowed her to rest temporarily. Outside the house, Ning Fan stared at the short old man with a solemn expression. The short old man in front of him was Ming Luo Treant. He was a void fragmentation expert, but Ning Fan felt so tiny in front of his true body in the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. Ming Luo's true body was much stronger than Moksha Emperor. Ning Fan had fulfilled his request and cured Bright Sparrow. According to this demon's character, he probably wouldn't bite the hand that fed him, but life was unpredictable. Ning Fan had to be extra careful since he was in a dangerous place. He secretly held a wisp of true soul in his sleeve. It was the soul of Ming Luo. His tone was indifferent. I've fulfilled Senior's request. Right now, can I make a third request to Senior? There was not a trace of carelessness in Ning Fan's eyes. This was the cautious way of living in the world. Once Ming Luo made any strange move, he would crush his true soul and greatly damage his cultivation. Hee, little friend, you've saved Bright Sparrow. If you have any request, just say it. Don't worry, I'm Ming Luo. I'm an open and above-board person. I'll never go back on my words to my friends. Ming Luo's words were neither red nor breathless. Open and above-board, he seemed to have forgotten that he had sneak-attacked Ning Fan. How was that open and above-board? Ning Fan gave Ming Luo a strange look. He didn't expose the past to avoid embarrassment. This Ming Luo seemed to care about his face. In order to save Bright Sparrow, Ning Fan made 3 requests. First, Ming Luo had to hand over a wisp of true soul in exchange. Second, Ming Luo had to use a 10,000-year-old spiritual herb to cure Bright Sparrow's poison. Ning Fan didn't get any benefit from either of the 2 requests. It seemed like he was suffering a loss, but in fact, he had a 3rd request. Moreover, there was a big mystery in the first request. Perhaps, Ning Fan would have to trick this treant. Since Ming Luo had agreed to Ning Fan's 3rd request, Ning Fan wouldn't be polite anymore. I'm sure Senior can guess my 3rd request. I want the Ming Luo fruit. Sure enough, you want the Ming Luo fruit. Alright, this old man will agree to it. But, how many Ming Luo fruits do you want? I only have 3 with me now. If you want the 4th one, you will have to enter my Ming Luo illusory realm to pluck it. Ming Luo's eyes froze and looked at Ning Fan. Ming Luo illusory realm. That's right. In this illusory realm, there are countless of Ming Luo fruits, but I can't enter this realm myself. Bright Sparrow is unconscious now, so she can't enter either. If you want to enter, I will make an exception and let you enter once. Ming Luo's tone was flat as if he was talking about something casual, but Ning Fan was slightly moved. In the memory of ancient chaos, there seemed to be a mention of the place where the Ming Luo fruit grew, the Ming Luo illusory realm. However, this illusory realm had never allowed any races other than the demon race to enter. Ming Luo's sincerity in opening the illusory realm for him was not small. Moreover, it was said that the illusory power of this illusory realm disregarded one's cultivation base. The number of Ming Luo fruits one could pluck depended entirely on the firmness of one's Dao heart. It had nothing to do with one's cultivation base. Even a void fragmentation cultivator might be bewitched by the illusory realm and return empty-handed without being able to pluck a single Ming Luo fruit. With a trace of Ming Luo's true soul in his hand, Ning Fan wasn't worried that Ming Luo would harm him. Moreover, Ning Fan wouldn't be foolish enough to refuse the opportunity to obtain more Ming Luo fruits. Thank you, Senior, for opening the illusory realm for me. Sure. Seeing that you have saved Bright Sparrow, I will remind you again. Don't be greedy when you enter the illusory realm. As long as you close your eyes and wait for the illusory power to dissipate, you can easily obtain a Ming Luo fruit before the illusory realm closes. Young man, don't be greedy. For Ming Luo fruits is already a lot. Thank you for your reminder, Senior Ming Luo. I will keep it in mind. However, I still want to try my best to pluck a Ming Luo fruit without resorting to trickery. Forget it, if you are eroded by the illusory power, I will forcefully take you out. Ming Luo shook his head. He praised Ning Fan's courage, but he didn't think that Ning Fan could obtain half a Ming Luo fruit from the illusory realm without resorting to trickery. The illusory power was directed at the weakest part of the human heart. Devil Dao cultivation techniques would be more susceptible to the illusory power. This young man seemed to be a devil cultivator of the human race, so it would be harder for him to resist the illusory power. Ming Luo firmly believed that Ning Fan would gain nothing in the illusory realm, but he still opened the illusory realm for him as a reward for saving Bright Sparrow. Ming Luo's 10 fingers formed a seal. After a ray of light, a mysterious space appeared outside the Tree-Core Palace, faintly emitting an extremely strong illusory power. Ning Fan took a step into it. After the time it took for half an incense stick to burn after Ning Fan entered the illusory realm, Ming Luo's expression suddenly changed. He sensed that Ning Fan had broken through the illusory realm and plucked the first Ming Luo fruit. This young man actually plucked a Ming Luo fruit. Ming Luo's expression gradually turned solemn. He seemed to have underestimated Ning Fan. To be able to pluck a Ming Luo fruit meant that Ning Fan must be a person with a heart of stone. As a human devil cultivator, he was able to pluck a Ming Luo fruit. This young man was extraordinary. It's a pity that this young man is destined to not be able to pluck a second Ming Luo fruit. In the Ming Luo illusory realm, the more Ming Luo fruit one plucked, the stronger the illusory power would be. The difficulty of plucking the next fruit would also increase. Since the establishment of my Ming Luo tree clan, countless experts had entered the Ming Luo illusory realm, but there were less than 100 people who could pluck a second Ming Luo fruit at this young man's age. Ming Luo muttered to himself in a low voice, but before he could finish his words, his eyes were filled with surprise. He sensed that Ning Fan had plucked the second Ming Luo fruit in the illusory realm. The second fruit. Even among the human race, those young experts who cultivated the righteous profound cultivation technique would find it hard to resist the illusory power of the second Ming Luo fruit. If he can pluck the third Ming Luo fruit before the age of 20, then he can be considered as a heaven's chosen. Ming Luo's heart was filled with anticipation, anticipating Ning Fan to do something amazing. But to his disappointment, Ning Fan hadn't plucked the third Ming Luo fruit even after half an hour, as if he was trapped by the illusory power. Ming Luo sighed slightly. It seemed like he had overestimated this young man. In the illusory realm, Ning Fan was holding 2 Ming Luo fruits, standing in the boundless 7-colored world. Rivers were flowing in the sky, mountains were hanging upside down in the sky, beasts were walking upside down. This was an illusory realm that subverted common sense. Thousands of 7-colored fruits were floating in the sky, seemingly real and illusory at the same time. Among them, only some were real while the rest were fake. If one plucked a fake fruit, the illusory power would enter his body. As soon as he entered the illusory realm, he activated the first level of yin-yang transformation. An immortal emperor's cultivation technique had a great resistance against the illusory power. As soon as this cultivation technique was activated, Ning Fan immediately found a real Ming Luo fruit and plucked it successfully. But immediately, the surrounding illusory power doubled, making it hard for Ning Fan to identify it again. Fortunately, after pondering for a long time, Ning Fan finally found out the whereabouts of a real Ming Luo fruit from a trace of it and plucked it into his bosom. However, the illusory power in the surroundings immediately doubled. At this point, the first level of yin-yang transformation couldn't identify the real Ming Luo fruit at all. At this moment, Ning Fan had an idea. He might as well take a gamble, but he was wrong. He held the third Ming Luo fruit in his hand, but it was fake. As soon as it touched his hand, it immediately burst into bursts of 7-colored mist, enveloping Ning Fan. Ning Fan's expression changed. He knew that his body had been invaded by the illusory power. He immediately revealed a vigilant look and scanned the surroundings, but nothing happened. But after a burst of fragrance, the naked figures of countless women suddenly appeared in front of him. After Ning Fan let out a cold snort, these illusory figures exploded and returned to the 7-colored mist. But immediately, the 7-colored mist condensed into a familiar figure of a woman. The girl in front of him was wearing a fox fur coat and had her hair combed into a maiden's bun. She was looking at Ning Fan pitifully. "Big brother Fan, if you kill Jihe, you can break free from the illusory power. You can even obtain a Ming Luo fruit, but, are you willing to do it? This Shiha was undoubtedly an illusion formed by the illusory power. Shiha, Ning Fan closed his eyes, a trace of desolation appeared in his eyes. Kill the illusion and obtain the Ming Luo fruit, but if he didn't, he would be trapped by the illusory power. The Shiha in front of him was just an illusion. Ning Fan only needed to summon the Separation Slayer and he could easily break this illusion, but he couldn't slash this sword, even if it was an illusion. The illusory power went straight to one's heart. How was this illusory power? This was clearly the heart's devil. If I slash this sword, not only will I obtain the Ming Luo fruit, but it will also greatly benefit me in breaking through to the Gold Core realm and severing my emotions in the future. However, if I slash this sword down, it will be a blasphemy to Jiha. I don't want this Ming Luo fruit anymore. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with a trace of determination. At this moment, the last trace of greed for the Ming Luo fruit in his heart had dispersed, leaving only perseverance. The moment the greed dispersed, the Jiha in front of him suddenly exploded into colorful mist, and the clouds of mist vanished rapidly. The illusory power was finally broken, and there was a Ming Luo fruit at the place where the colorful mist exploded. However, there wasn't a trace of joy on Ning Fan's face, there was only a sigh. Severing my emotions, severing my heart's devil, although I didn't slash Shiha, I still managed to escape once. I wonder if I can escape again the next time I form my core, but I finally know the way to take away the Ming Luo fruit. Over there is thoughtless. In the end, I, Ning Fan, can't achieve thoughtless, but even if Ning Fan can't do it, Mo Ning can. Ning Fan's eyes flickered with contemplation. A moment later, he patted the top of his head, immediately transforming into two figures in white and black. The one in white was Bai Fan, and the one in black was Mo Ning. Bai Fan had a smile on his face, but he was immediately bewitched by the illusory power. As for Hei Yi, his heart was as cold as a stone. There was no temptation that could move his heart. Do I want to take away these Ming Luo fruits? Humph, it doesn't matter if they are real or fake, I'll just take them away. He waved his hand fiercely and immediately obtained dozens of Ming Luo fruits from the countless floating Ming Luo fruits. At the same time, a heaven-defying illusory power swept toward the black-robed man, but he was not affected at all. I, thoughtless, how can you bewitch me? Break! The illusory power was shattered by his cold gaze. In the outside world, Ming Luo had been waiting for a long time, but he still couldn't see Ning Fan getting the third Ming Luo fruit, which made him feel slightly regretful. The time for the illusion to close was about to come, but there was still no sign of Ning Fan coming out. What did he actually do inside? Forget it, he must have been trapped by the illusory power after obtaining two Ming Luo fruits. Let me save him. Ming Luo shook his head. When he was about to take action and forcefully pull Ning Fan out, his eyes suddenly turned solemn. That solemn expression turned into astonishment at an astonishing speed, and the astonishment became even more intense. He has obtained the third Ming Luo fruit. Wait, he has obtained the fourth, the fifth, this, Ming Luo's eyes were dazed. He realized that for the first time in his life, the Ming Luo illusory realm began to show signs of collapse before it closed. What did that kid actually do in the illusory realm? He actually caused the illusory realm to collapse in advance. With a rumbling sound, two rays of black and white light rushed out from the illusory realm, turning into the figure of a young man in white and black cloak. At the next moment, the illusory realm closed with a loud bang. What a pity. Hei Yi is a little too reckless, otherwise, he could have obtained a few more Ming Luo fruits, but he only obtained 10. You obtained 10 Ming Luo fruits in the illusory realm. Ming Luo's zombie-like face twisted into a ball because of disbelief. 10 fruits. In the history of the Ming Luo tree clan, those who could obtain 10 Ming Luo fruits in a trip to the illusory realm were all experts above the nascent soul realm. As for nascent soul experts, no matter how monstrous they would at least be a few hundred years old, even if they cultivated using the isolated world force like the Lost World Palace, they would still need to go through hundreds of years of tempering in the illusory realm. Without hundreds of years of experience, it was impossible to resist the illusory power of the 10th Ming Luo fruit. But Ning Fan's bone age didn't seem to be 20 years old no matter how Ming Luo looked at him. If Ming Luo knew that Ning Fan's incarnation in the illusory realm could ignore the illusory power, he would certainly be more shocked. I was just lucky. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. It was indeed a bitter smile. When he was invaded by the Heart Devil and faced the interrogation of the Heart Devil that killed Jihe, he avoided it. But could he avoid it the next time he broke through to the Gold Core realm? Because his Heart Devil was Jihe. Chapter 124. The injuries from the fire spirit's attack were healed. The state of mind that was invaded by the chaotic force was calmed. After a long time, Ning Fan gently exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi. He waved his palm and took out a fiery red demon core, his eyes sparkling. Fire Spirit Demon Core. Demon core is something that human cultivators can never consume directly. They can only refine it into a pill and consume it. However, the 5-spirit demon core is an exception. Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth are the 5 origin spirits. If they develop intelligence and become demons, their demon cores can be consumed directly by cultivators. However, there's a cultivation base restriction. If a cultivator wants to consume the 5-spirit demon core, his cultivation base must be at least 1 realm higher than the owner of the demon core. Ning Fan fell into silence. The fire spirit demon core in front of him was a type of 5-spirit demon core. It was sought after by countless peak gold core and even nascent soul cultivators. If his true body were to refine it, he would be devoured by the demon core due to his insufficient cultivation base. Moreover, even if his true body could refine the demon core, his magical power had already reached the peak before the core formation realm and couldn't advance any further. Ning Fan let out a sigh and suddenly thought of something. If he couldn't refine it, could his black-clothed incarnation refine it? The black-clothed incarnation's strength was the same as his true body's spirit sense, which was at the half-step nascent soul realm. Plus, it could be separated from his body. If he stayed in the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave to refine the fire spirit demon core, he might be able to reach the nascent soul realm in the grave. Stay in the grave and break through to the nascent soul realm. Ultimately, the strength of the incarnation came from the power of spirit sense. There were small bottlenecks in the improvement of spirit sense, but not as big as the bottleneck of core formation realm. With the help of so many fire spirit demon cores, 3 months would be enough for his spirit sense to break through to the nascent soul realm. When his spirit sense broke through to the nascent soul realm, his black-clothed incarnation would possess the strength of a nascent soul realm expert and sweep across Yu country. Ning Fan's eyes flickered. If his spirit sense reached the nascent soul realm, even if his cultivation base hadn't reached core formation realm, his black-clothed incarnation would have the strength to fight against a true nascent soul realm expert. But immediately, his eyes revealed a trace of doubt. There were 2 safety issues that he had to consider. First of all, the black-clothed cultivator swallowed the fire spirit demon core in the mouth of the volcano. Under the might of the 4th grade fire spirit, the spiritual qi would be overwhelming and it would definitely increase the chances of him forming his nascent soul. Ming Luo's hostility towards Ning Fan had decreased a lot. However, it was because it was unpredictable. Of Ming Luo's heart. But he couldn't guarantee that Ming Luo would not change his mind and attack. There was a solution to this problem. He still had a trace of his true soul with him. He had Ning. He had with him soul. When he of it. He said that he wanted the true soul, but he did not promise to return the true soul to Ming Luo after he cured Bright Sparrow. He was afraid that Ming Luo would ask for his true soul before leaving the Dark Sparrow's grave. Ning Fan would leisurely stand in the first level of the Dark Sparrow's grave in the teleportation formation, bargaining with Ming Luo's vein-opening clone, exchanging his true soul for some benefits. Ming Luo had launched a sneak attack on Ning Fan and Ning Fan had tricked him once. But later on, Ming Luo activated the Ming Luo illusion realm for Ning Fan. This matter could be considered as offsetting the previous sneak attack. As for Ning Fan, no matter how thick-skinned he would be too embarrassed to threaten Ming Luo at this moment. The last bit of use of this true soul was gone, but if he didn't return it to Ming Luo for the time being, it could be used as a safeguard for his clone in the Dark Sparrow's grave, then, this true soul would still be of great use. In this way, the problem of the black-clothed incarnation's safety in forming his nascent soul had been solved. However, leaving half of his incarnation in Dark Sparrow's grave and leaving only his white-clothed incarnation, 3 months later, when Extreme Een Gate attacked Ning City, it would be hard for him to contend against Old Devil Purple Een and the others with just his white-clothed incarnation. The white-clothed incarnation inherited his cultivation base and physical body while the black-clothed incarnation inherited his sea of consciousness and sword sense. If the black-clothed remained in Dark Sparrow's grave, the white-clothed incarnation could still sense him with spirit sense, but he wouldn't be able to use the heaven-defying means of sword sense. If the black-clothed could break through to nascent soul realm before Extreme Een Gate attacked, he might be able to reverse the situation. But if the black-clothed encountered an accident after breaking through to nascent soul realm, he would have to use his peak harmonious spirit cultivation base to contend against Old Devil Purple Yin's half-step nascent soul strength. Ning Fan's spirit sense swept across the volcano and his eyes wrinkled. The volcano that was burning with the 4th-grade spiritual fire had started to extinguish because of Black Robe's massacre of the fire spirits. He didn't know how many thousands or tens of thousands of them had been killed, but he only managed to obtain a few hundred demon cores. If he missed this chance to enter seclusion, there wouldn't be such a good place for seclusion anymore. Not every place under the heavens had a 4th-grade spirit fire waiting for him. After all, a small 4th-grade spirit fire could be sold at a sky-high price in the outside world. The fire of this volcano isn't fire, but demonic energy. It can't be brought out of Dark Sparrow's grave and began to extinguish after the fire spirits were killed. If I miss this chance, it will be extremely difficult for the black-clothed to break through to nascent soul realm. If I let the black-clothed form his nascent soul, the white-clothed will have to face a lot of dangers. Fine, I'll make a compromise. The black-clothed will form his nascent soul here and the white-clothed will leave Dark Sparrow's grave and return to Ning City. If the black-clothed hasn't formed his nascent soul when Ning City is attacked, I'll give up this chance and let the black-clothed return to Ning City. Ning Fan made up his mind and immediately patted the top of his head. With a flash of brilliance, the black-clothed incarnation was separated from the black-clothed incarnation. The black-clothed incarnation and the white-clothed incarnation had a tacit understanding. He took all the demon cores and went straight to the extinguishing volcano with a trace of demonic soul. As for the white-clothed incarnation, he patted his storage pouch and took out a Min Luo fruit, remaining silent. The Min Luo fruit was only the size of a lychee. Its surface was rough, similar to the surface of the stars in ancient Chaos's memory. However, there were traces of 7-colored veins densely covering it, gleaming with dim light and rippling with the power of illusion. The Min Luo fruit, also known as the dream fruit, could allow a cultivator to gain 50 years of mental state. The way to improve mental state was to enter a dream with the help of the Min Luo fruit. In a dream, only 1 night had passed in the outside world, but 50 years had passed in the dream. 50 years of dream wasn't enough to improve one's cultivation base, but it could make one's mental state calm. Ever since I started cultivating the devil path, my cultivation base has been improving rapidly, but my mental state has always been lacking. Mental state can only be accumulated over time and can't be obtained through pills. I'm afraid there's nothing else in this world that can improve mental state except for the Min Luo fruit. I'm going to take the first Min Luo fruit in Dark Sparrow's grave. The white-clothed Ning Fan smiled faintly. He put the Min Luo fruit in his mouth and bit it. A stream of 7-colored illusion force immediately made his eyelids heavy, sinking him into the dreamland. It was a dream. In the Ning family of Hai Ning, a 3-year-old child with blank eyes was being led into the servants' courtyard of the Ning family. Beside the emerald green jade pond river, countless children in Hai Ning City were also being led into the Ning family with blank eyes. Most of the children were orphans and beggars. They were found by the cultivators of the Ning family from all over Wu country. Their memories were erased and they were accepted into the Ning family as their disciples. Those who had the aptitude for immortal cultivation were called young masters. Those who didn't have the aptitude were reduced to the servants or the foster sons of servants. The 3-year-old child was following behind a skinny middle-aged man in a submissive manner. The middle-aged man said coldly with a snobbish expression, "From today onwards, you will be called a Ning Fan. You're my foster son. Before you, I had another foster son. He's 1 year younger than you. His name is Ning Gu." "Oh," the 3-year-old child answered carefully. When he heard the name Ning Fan, he found it extremely familiar. When he heard Ning Gu, he felt a little sad. He didn't understand what this feeling was. He was just a 3-year-old child. While thinking, the child named Ning Fan couldn't help but halt his steps. He stood there foolishly with blank eyes. "Why? I want to be called Ning Fan. Can I not be called this? Mother said that my surname is Yun." Hiss. A 3-year-old child's memory has been erased. How could he still remember his previous life? "Humph, I'll have to ask the immortal master to erase your memory again. This time, it must be more thorough." Ning Dainyu was so shocked that he couldn't close his mouth. This child in front of him was the first to remember his original name after having his memory erased by the immortal master. His eyes moved. Could this child in front of him be a monster? Otherwise, how could it be like this? While he was pondering, a youth in white robe and black cloak gently walked towards him from behind. Although the youth was thin and weak, there wasn't a trace of qi in his footsteps. Obviously, he was a cultivator and not a mortal. Ning. Ning Dainyu greets Grandpa Immortal Master. All cultivators were immortal masters in Ning Dainyu's eyes. Ning Dainyu knelt down in front of the youth. He was afraid, very afraid. He had seen with his own eyes that an immortal master killed 207 bandits in a mountain. Immortal masters were revered existences in Wu country. Even the patriarch of Ning family treated an immortal master with great respect. He, Ning Dainyu, couldn't afford to offend an immortal master. However, the young cultivator didn't even look at Ning Dainyu. Instead, his eyes fell on Ning Fan's child with reminiscence. "Your name is Ning Fan, right? That's a good name. Did you say your surname is Yun?" "N." Xiao Tong answered obediently. Unknowingly, Xiao Tong had an instinctive sense of closeness towards the youth in front of him. "Ning Fan, perhaps your original name is Yun Fan." "Ha, I didn't expect to see this trace of memory from the depths of my memory after refining the Ming Luo fruit, but, so what if you know your original surname? Ning family adopts orphans. You have no parents after all. There's no difference whether your surname is Yun or Ning." The youth sighed. "Oh." Ning Fan nodded, although he didn't understand a word of what the uncle in front of him said. After the youth sighed, his eyes suddenly focused and his qi surged violently. "Let me ask you, do you have the heart to go against the heaven?" I don't understand." Xiao Tong seemed to have recalled something and revealed a look of fear. "Forget it. The first Ming Luo fruit. Your heart is still too young. It's not the right time to return to Hai Ning and eliminate your heart devil." The youth sighed and rolled up his sleeves. Under Ning Dainyu's shocked gaze, both of them vanished without a trace. The dream was broken. When the dream was restored, a desolate and uninhabited land appeared in front of them. The scenes of the demon sinister forest reappeared. 50 years. You have to watch me kill people. The young man stepped into the demon's sinister forest with the boy and started the endless massacre. When Xiaotong first saw blood and broken bones, he was so scared that he fainted and vomited countless times. However, his young heart was maturing again and again. For 50 years, the youth and Xiaotong didn't have a single conversation. For 50 years, the youth destroyed countless ghosts with a single slash of his sword. However, each time a ghost died, it would reform. There was no end to the massacre because this was a dream. Loneliness, exhaustion, and numbness to killing. Xiaotong's eyes gradually revealed a resolute and cold look. I wonder if I have the heart to go against the heaven at this moment. I wonder if I can sever my emotions at this moment. Xiaotong's voice was young, but his expression was as cold as the god of slaughter. Then, 50 years of massacre, the dream was shattered. In the world of the tree heart in the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave, Ning Fan suddenly opened his eyes. There was a trace of exhaustion and vicissitudes in his eyes. Only one night had passed in the outside world, but in this dream, he had experienced 50 years of loneliness and massacre. He closed his eyes to calm his mind. After a long time, he opened his eyes again. The exhaustion and vicissitudes in his eyes were gone, but his eyes were completely different from before he entered the grave. His mental state had been improved. 50 years. However, he didn't feel happy at all, only sighing. It's not enough. I don't have the heart to go against the heaven. If I don't sever my emotions, I can't form my core. But I won't sever my emotions. Chapter 125. His mental state had already reached the peak of harmonious spirit realm, which was in line with his cultivation base. One more step and he would reach the gold core realm, where he would have to face the heart devil. As such, the Min Luo fruit could only be eaten when she was truly forming her gold core. Bright Sparrow was still unconscious and undergoing a transformation. However, Ning Fan was unwilling to stay in the Dark Sparrow's grave any longer. After staying in the Dark Sparrow's grave for a few days, perhaps the ancestor of Fire Cloud's sect had already collected the elixirs for the nascent solidifying pill and the corpse life pill. It was time for him to return to the sect to refine the elixirs and prepare for the battle 3 months later. He took one last look at the unconscious Bright Sparrow. She was as pure as a petite princess. This little girl seemed to make him have an instinctive liking for her, but he didn't know why. Just like Ming Luo, the dignified Ming Luo Treant, a supreme figure in Dark Sparrow's grave, treated this little girl like a junior. The power of the dark demon was really a strange power. It made people unable to have the intention to harm it. I'm leaving. He turned around and left with Ming Luo's clone. As he was leaving, Bright Sparrow's eyelashes fluttered. She wanted to open her eyes, but she was too tired. Biscuit brother. Profound treasure. Cloud treasure. I will give them all to you. She was talking in her sleep. Ning Fan, who had left, did not hear her words. The short old man Ming Luo rode an immortal cloud to send Ning Fan out of the Dark Sparrow's grave. Ning Fan told Ming Luo about his incarnation going into seclusion in the volcano. His true soul also said that it would return after 3 months. Ming Luo hesitated for a moment, but he didn't care too much about his true soul. With his cultivation base, the black-robed Ning Fan would not be able to leave the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave without his permission. Thus, he was not worried that the black-robed Ning Fan would escape with his true soul. The one who escorted Ning Fan away was still the body of the short old man, but this time, Ming Luo was much more cautious. He had used almost all of the power of his demon soul, and the strength of his clone had reached the 5th layer of the void fragmentation realm. If he encountered the old man in snake scales again, he would not be afraid. In the 9th level of Dark Sparrow's grave, the rain came out of nowhere and the divine will of magic arts. In the 8th level of Dark Sparrow's grave, the heaven-defying rain contained the lofty ambition of defying the heavens and slaying the heavens. It was infused with Kei Shenxi's lifelong defiance. Ning Fan left in the opposite direction and looked at the rain again. Because the time was different, the purpose was different and the state of mind was different, the rain was different too. The rain lingered in his heart for a long time. From the 8th layer of rain, he gained the confidence to slay his inner demons. The only way to reach the core formation stage without severing one's emotions was to have such a state of mind. The heart of defying the heavens. Ning Fan, who was dressed in white, slowly closed his eyes and comprehended in the rain. In the 7th level of Dark Sparrow's grave, the thunderstorm was infused with Kei Shenxi's will to fight. The rain of swords in the 6th level of Dark Sparrow's grave was infused with Kei Shenxi's killing intent. The 5th level of Dark Sparrow's grave, the ice rain, the place where the divine intent of rain was first condensed. The 4th layer, autumn rain. The 3rd layer, the rainless realm. The 2nd layer, summer rain. The 1st layer, spring rain. Standing beside the teleportation formation of the 1st level of Dark Sparrow's grave, Ning Fan was lost in his thoughts. The rain on the 1st floor was exactly the same as the rain on the 9th floor. It was as if all the rain had returned to its original spot after a round. The raindrops might look the same, but one was Yin rain while the other was the transformation of the divine will. The cultivation of the divine intent of rain was a circle. By fusing it into one's Tao heart and cultivating it back to its original point, one would be able to reach perfection. The current Ning Fan had condensed a trace of his divine intent, but he had yet to complete that circle. This circle could only be completed when he reached the spirit-severing realm and understood the heavenly Tao. It was because that circle contained the original appearance of the heavenly Tao. After 50 years of improvement in his mental state, Ning Fan still looked thin and weak, but he was no longer immature. At the age of 18, he was no longer a teenager, but a smiling white-robed youth. Senior Ming Luo, I have some misunderstandings with you in this grave, but I've gained a lot of benefits from you. Once again, thank you. He cupped his fists at Ming Luo, turned and stepped into the teleportation formation, teleporting away by the void force. Hee, I'll come back to see Bright Sparrow if I have the chance. That little girl seems to like you very much. Ming Luo's impression of Ning Fan had improved a lot after witnessing Ning Fan's means and character several times. The sword sense slashed the soul of the snake-scaled old man. 5th Revolution Pill Concoction Technique. Suppressing the void poison. Ming Luo's illusory realm strangely dissipated. Moreover, the white-robed youth had condensed a black-robed incarnation. The incarnation was completely condensed without a trace of flaw. Even a void fragmentation old monster might not be able to do it, but Ning Fan had done it. This kid is extraordinary and has a good character. He's enough to be a good match for Bright Sparrow. However, it's better to wait for Bright Sparrow to grow up. Ming Luo looked at the direction where Ning Fan left, revealing a rare smile of relief. Bright Sparrow's void poison had been suppressed. His mood was very good. However, that little demon Snake Ji dared to scheme against me. I have to settle this score with him. A cold light flashed in Ming Luo's eyes. It had been a long time since he got angry. It was time to set off a rain of blood in the 8th level of Dark Sparrow's grave. With a flash of light, Ning Fan appeared in the Earth Primordial Palace. Outside the palace were Ji He and the other girls who had left Dark Sparrow's grave under his order. Ji He was very worried, so was Lan Mei. Even Si Wuxie, who had something wrong with her, was slightly worried. But the moment Ning Fan left the formation light, her brows relaxed a little. Brother Fan, you're out. Are you alright? You seem to have changed into another person. Ji He looked at Ning Fan's white-robed, smiling and silent expression, feeling slightly strange. In just a few days, Ning Fan's body had undergone too many transformations. Ji He could see some clues. Lan Mei also had a faint feeling, but they couldn't understand it. As for Yen Bai, he could feel a trace of qi that was as steady as a mountain from Ning Fan. Although he didn't say it, he was quite surprised inwardly. Ning Fan's eyes were so steady. In just a few days, his mental state seemed to have improved rapidly in the center of Dark Sparrow's grave. Not only had his mental state improved, but his cultivation base had also reached the half-step gold core realm from the peak of harmonious spirit realm. He had even condensed a false core in his body. This kid isn't far from core formation realm. Yen Bai's old eyes shrank. His dread towards Ning Fan deepened. As for Xue Qing, he could smell a trace of the fragrance of a 10,000-year-old spiritual herb from Ning Fan's body. After the improvement of his concoction technique, Ning Fan's temperament had become even more extraordinary. Ordinary people couldn't see it, but as a third revolution pill master, Xue Qing could vaguely sense it. A 10,000-year-old spiritual herb and the temperament of a grand master alchemist. All of these made Xue Qing's eyes blaze. He guessed that Ning Fan's concoction technique must have improved again. Could it be that there was an opportunity in the lower level of Dark Sparrow's grave that could improve one's concoction technique? I've missed the opportunity. If I knew that I could improve my concoction technique, I would have followed Master down there even if I had to die. Xue Qing regretted. In the end, he didn't speculate whether Ning Fan's concoction technique had broken through to the fifth revolution or not. He was afraid that Ning Fan would tell him about it very soon. As his eyes swept across Zhihe, Ning Fan had a vague feeling that things remained the same but the people had changed. Only a few days had passed in the outside world, but he was alone in his dream and had experienced 50 years of slaughter. By the way, Brother Fan, you asked us to leave the Dark Sparrow's grave at that time. What happened? Did you encounter danger? Old Qing had told us about it. Did you go to a very dangerous place? He was still worried. Xue Qing's face turned ugly when he was called Old Qing by Zhihe, but he could only smile apologetically. He could only accept whatever his master's wife wanted to call him. There was a little danger, but it's all over now. Ning Fan smiled faintly and lovingly stroked Zhihe's beautiful hair. In front of everyone, Zhihe's face turned red. She was already 14 years old. Her breasts were already half erect. She was already slim and graceful. Moreover, she had a harmonious spirit cultivation base. She was no longer that silly little girl, but a young lady with bright eyes. Without Zhihe, Ning Fan might have died in the all-pleasure sect. Without Zhihe, he wouldn't have stepped on the path of evil cultivation. Ever since he met Zhihe, his fate had changed again and again. And this time, Zhihe had become his heart's devil. Ning Fan didn't tell Zhihe about everything. He just smiled. Smiling was an expression that had nothing to do with one's mood. He smiled not because he wasn't worried, but because he didn't want Zhihe to worry. It's been a long time since we dual cultivated. He suddenly teased Zhihe. This teasing caused Zhihe's face to turn as red as a tomato in a split second. As for Lan Mei, her eyes were filled with envy and resentment. As for Xue Qing, he secretly raised his thumb to Ning Fan. He was indeed worthy of being his master. His skin was really thick. He dared to talk about dual cultivation in front of others. He was just like old Monster Han. That night, Ning Fan and Zhihe slept on the same pillow in the dual cultivation palace. Sometimes, there was a sensual moan coming from the courtyard. 3 days later, old ancestor Jing Zhua had finally gathered enough herbs. He possessed Lady Yunhua's body and arrived at Sinister Sparrow Sect. In Sinister Sparrow Sect, the last thing was to refine Nascent Forming Pill, Nascent Fortifying Pill and Corpse Life Pill for Jing Zhua. The Corpse Life Pill was just a third revolution pill, but the Nascent Formation Pill and Nascent Fortifying Pill were fourth revolution pills. With Ning Fan's fifth revolution pill concoction technique, the time needed to concoct these two pills was even shorter. Half a month was enough for him to concoct 2 fourth revolution dawn. The only thing he needed to be prepared was to set up a formation to isolate the phenomenon of the fourth revolution pill. The phenomenon was too huge. Ning Fan didn't want anyone to know that revered Ning of Sinister Sparrow's sect was a fourth revolution pill master, Black Devil Ning. After the battle with Extreme Een Gate, there was no way to conceal this matter anymore. But at least at this moment, it was not a good time to reveal this matter. This was to prevent Old Devil Purple Een from knowing about it and increase the number of variables. The nascent realm grand formation of the Dan Palace was arranged by the old ancestor of the Sinister Sparrow sect in the lower world. After being modified by Ning Fan, the grade of the formation became higher. The parts that were damaged were perfected, and it also had the magical effect of isolating the fourth revolution Dan Qi. In this way, there would be less trouble from the heavenly tribulation and it would be much easier. Ning Fan specially allowed Xue Qing to enter the pill concoction room to observe him concoct pills. This made Xue Qing extremely excited. He finally had the chance to observe Ning Fan concoct fourth revolution pills. A fourth revolution pill master was an existence that even nascent soul cultivators would treat with respect. A fifth revolution pill master was a grandmaster that even spirit-severing cultivators would treat with respect. Ning Fan taught the first 4 revolutions of the 9 revolutions river will to Xue Qing. As soon as he opened the furnace, guided the earth fire and threw the herbs into the furnace, Xue Qing was shocked to find that there were 5 round shadows condensed between Ning Fan's fingers. Ning Fan was very familiar with controlling the earth fire and concocting a fourth revolution pill with ease. Master, you have broken through to the fifth revolution pill master. Xue Qing was shocked. Although fourth revolution pill masters were rare, there were tens of thousands of them in the 800 cultivation countries of Rain Immortal World. They were only rare and precious in a desolate place like Yu country. However, there were only slightly more than 100 fifth revolution pill masters in the entire Rain Immortal World. Each of them was treated as a distinguished guest by the Rain Palace and even received an audience from the Divine Emperor of the Rain Immortal World. This white-robed youth who was smiling calmly in front of him had become a fifth revolution pill master before the age of 20. A fifth revolution pill master who was less than 20 years old. If this matter was spread out, it would certainly cause a sensation in the entire pill concoction world of Rain Immortal World. It wouldn't be a problem for Ning Fan to break through to the 6th revolution pill master in this lifetime. His future in the Tao of Alchemy was unpredictable. Don't make a fuss about nothing. Quickly observe my 9 revolutions pill master, you will also have the chance to reach the 5th revolution realm in the future. Ning Fan shook his head. Xue Qing's persistence in the Tao of Alchemy had destined him to have a long-term development under Ning Fan's guidance, but before that, Xue Qing must change his startled personality and become more courageous. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.